Hello. What's up, what's up, what's up? Late start? You could say that. You could also say it's a day early. How are you guys? What's new? What's poppin'? How's your lives? How's your existence on Earth? I'm going to MLP-Con next week. This video is going to be a good prep for the bronies. Is it normal to be an adult into My Little Pony as well? Like, even if you're not a dude? Playing Minecraft while listening is the best combo. Let's go. The first 15 minutes of Minecraft, absolute heaven. Can you do gaming convention, Expo horror stories, especially the Western Animation Minecraft Con Expo stories at this Christmas? Yes. I'll time that up perfectly for you. Don't you worry. Being eaten by mosquitoes in San Diego. Is it bad there? I always thought it was like pretty temperate around there. Or rather, not mosquito weather. The Butterfly Whisperer. Gonna try back to my home country, Pakistan, next month. Well, good luck, friend. Hopefully it's fun. I hear certain parts are quite beautiful. In my defense, I've been a fan for like 10 years, so I was a child when I started liking it. Oh, okay, no worries. Is it good? Should I get into it? Is 36 too late to get into My Little Pony? There was eclipse today. I heard that. It was not visible in the United States, sadly, and it was so cloudy here. Supposedly today was supposed to be where like the whole world ended, because gravity briefly stops for 7 seconds and then just completely destroys something. But I heard there was going to be an eclipse, and then there was also going to be visible asteroids in the sky falling, or some sort of meteor shower. I saw news about an 8-year-old boy catching a piranha in a lake in Pennsylvania. I'm sure some fool released their exotic pet thought of you since your stay. Nice. It's probably me. I usually release 100 at a time so they can just rip anybody apart. They only like really attack, like they wouldn't like actually attack like a human, right? Unless the human was like dead. Like if it was dead just floating there, they might all pick at it, but I can't imagine they'd attack like a living creature. Sit Sitar, thank you for the gifter. The Lily Bun. You love my podcast. Thank you, Amelia. Good to see you. What did I have for dinner? I had chicken and kiwi. Guys, I'm on my cut grind. It's been 3 days. 3 days in a row I've hit my macros. We're down to 218 already. I will say only having 8 ounces of chicken and some kiwi as dinner is like not that satisfying, but you know, it gets the job done. What's up, Jeff? What's up, Paris? I'm gonna watch the meteor shower with my wife tonight. Dude, that's dope. I want to see that shit. I wonder if it's still cloudy outside, or if it's possible. But yeah, I think the thing holding me back at nighttime for a while, because I thought like, oh, I'm doing good. I thought I was gonna be able to like just cut the weight super fast, but I think I was just like really overeating late at night with all that watermelon, all the random other shit. I took your advice, did 200 air squats. Now I don't like you. Oh, perfect. Feeling nice and swollen. That's what I like to hear. What else is new? I think YouTube changed some sort of policies. What new policies did YouTube do? Question fart. What are good meals to eat when you're almost over a flu? I guess like slow hydration, like bone broth, like soups or something like that to hydrate and slowly ease your stomach back into, depending on like what your symptoms have been. Sometimes like just not eating, like fasting for a while and just staying hydrated is probably best for your body to like fight off whatever it's fighting. Alright, so August 2026. Wait. Well, I don't know. It read what I asked it wrong. Talk metric? Talk metric? What do you mean? Like how much weight I've lost? 218 pounds to kilos. So like 98.8 kilos is where I'm at right now. YouTube's preparing for apocalypses. Is that what they're doing? The adpocalypse. What's up, my man Joe? Still loving your stories. Thanks for everything. You're welcome, Glageezy. Good to see ya. Yeah, some of the videos been doing pretty good. Hopefully you guys like the new editing style, or rather the new vibes we got going with the channel. I'm just trying to up the quality. If there's anything else you think the channel could use for like upping the quality of the videos, just let me know. But tonight we were reading, I don't know how many we got here, I'll have to check, but scary stories about conventions and expos. So we're gonna have lots of neckbeard things. Also for my Pokemon collection, as an in-house nerd myself, only more so recently, I bought one of those like little microscopic like little handheld cameras where you can like take it and put it on top of a surface or on top of something, and it like zooms in like I think upwards of like 8 times or something like that. And you can see a lot of like random details. And I guess with Pokemon cards, if you look at like the interior of the P on the back of a card prior to like basically Scarlet and Violet, before they're inside that interior, it's called the P hole, which is funny, but it's basically in the shape of a D, but that hole has it's like a checkered formation. And if it looks like not like a checkered formation prior to like Scarlet and Violet, then the card probably is like a counterfeit. Did I get rid of the 30-second delay? I did not. No, sorry. It just seems like the stream's more stable for most people if I keep the delay. Like usual, I prefer listening to the videos, not the live streams, even though your streams are awesome. Just pop in and say, hey, hello, Zuko, good to see you here. Did you see the eclipse? Nah, man. I wish, dude. It would be awesome. I saw someone make a jewel diamond Pokeball with Ruby. That sounds awesome. A Master Ball. Sunday, but it was your birthday. Oh, shoot. What'd you do for your birthday? Sorry. You ever play Pokemon Go? I did when it first came out, and I felt like that was like whenever the world was at its most pure. You could just walk up to random people on the street and be like, Pokemon Go? And they're like, yeah, man. And you had like friends everywhere you went, you know? You were literally living in heaven. And then the CIA was like, wait a second. How about we make none of them ever get along? Okay. So, new YouTube partner program agreement, not a general policy that every viewer has to accept. YouTube announced August 10th, which was 2 days ago, monetized creators are being prompted inside YouTube Studio to review and accept updated YPP terms. The new terms take effect February 1st, 2027. YouTube says you should accept them by January 31st to keep full monetization. Long-form creators already in the YouTube partnership program are largely protected. The new harder entry threshold, 8,000 watch hours instead of 4,000, or 20 million short views instead of 10 million, applies to new creators applying to YPP, not existing YPP creators. Shorts monetization changes substantially starting February 1st, 2027. A creator generally needs 10 million qualified short views in the previous 90 days to receive short ad premium revenue. Falling below it doesn't kick you out of the YPP or affect long form. Damn. 10 million qualified short views. That's crazy. That seems like so much. And then premium and premium light revenue is being reworked and expanded. YouTube says creators receive 55% of the allocated long-form revenue and 45% for shorts, with separate subscription revenue pools. There are updated individual monetization modules, including watch page monetization, shorts monetization, and commerce products. You can technically accept individual updated modules, but if you don't accept a module, blah, 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 yeah, you get the idea. Anyways, so they're upping it for people to enter, which seems a little rough, but I guess maybe they're trying to mitigate AI channels or something like that. I don't even know. They were like, it seemed like they were all about AI slop for a while, and now they seem to be a bit wishy-washy. I guess that doesn't affect us, thankfully. What the fuck happened to YouTube? I guess they're just a big old company trying to make moolah. I am slop. Thanks, dude. Appreciate you. Oh, it says... Oh, that's actually hilarious. And when you type AI slop into chat, it like translates it to you are slop. Dude, it's trying to make us fight with each other with these translations. That's awesome. What's Joel's shoe size? I wear like a 10.5, 11, 5'10". We're rocking, we're rolling, bro. You guys gonna buy me some new shoes? Ask that to the other artists YouTube who got demonetized. I don't know who that is. That's so funny. Joni, you type AI slop and it says you are lazy. Maybe it's like Chinese or some shit. What's up, Halloween freak? Anyways, guys, thanks for being here. Click like, click share. We're gonna get to reading some spooky stories. But feel free to ask, say whatever you want. Yeah, right there too. Hiya. It switches to shame. That'd be so funny. It's just trying to gaslight us into crashing out. Wishy-washy, trying to play both angles and waiting to see which side will bring them the most money before they commit. That's a good point, honestly. Like, it did kind of seem like they were trying to go hard in on like AI slop for a second, because I honestly wouldn't be surprised at some point if they just like throw all their creators under the bus, and if it may, you know, if the audience didn't care, right, you know. But thankfully we have not gotten to that point right now. But I'm telling you, as much as there's so much of the world that, like the tech sector, that wants to bank on AI, but I mean, I think there's also like a planned AI crash anyways, probably eventually coming, and at the end of the day, the only thing AI does is make people appreciate human created things anyways. Simone Archibald, thank you for the 5 Aussie bucks, says F, help Joel and Buttersocks up to 40 plus hours, need to put on weight and muscle tone, instead bombarded with weight loss ads. Wait, what do you want us to do? I don't understand. Up for 40 plus hours, need to put on weight and muscle. You've been awake for 40 plus hours? Why are you awake for 40 plus hours? I'm so confused. Are you on meth right now? Just kidding. Keep burping and throat hurts. I swear if I fucking got it strep, I'm gonna be pissed. You're burping? Weird. What state I'm in? I'm in Pennsylvania. Anyways, guys, we should hit these hard here. Conventions, expos. If you think of a good title for the YouTube video, let me know. We'll get after it. Thanks for being here. So I hail to you from sunny Spain, which is currently on fire as I write this. Now thankfully I'm safe, but the stress weighs heavy on my mind, especially for my old great uncle, who absolutely will not move out of his farm despite the fires only being 1.5 kilometers away from him. And so I figured, what better way to take my mind off the stress of anxiety than write you an email about the time I had a ridiculous altercation at a card game tournament. Now, I don't mean gangsters playing blackjack or high-stake Texas Hold'em or anything like that. Nothing that grand. I'm talking about a Magic the Gathering tournament I entered when I was 19. I'm 28 now, and yes, I still play. Not a fan of the whole multiverse thing, though. And these days, I live in a small village farming community in Spain, but when I was a teenager, I finished my... What is this? Baccalaureato? Baccalaureato. Bachillerato. Okay. These days, I live in a small farming village community in Spain, but when I was a teenager, I finished my bachillerato, passed my entrance exam, and then left my small village to spend 5 years in college studying dentistry. My village was pretty low on prospective dentists, and with one elderly dentist retiring as soon as he found a replacement, I promised him that I'd return to take over the reins. Now that didn't mean that I'd spend my college years looking down the mouth. That didn't mean I'd spend my college years looking down in the mouth. Whatever that means, I don't know. 40 hours awake sounds like triplets. Forget robots, they're growing brains fused with replicating microchips. What are we gonna do, guys? They're gonna create Jurassic Park here soon. Existence is pain. I guess so, but like honestly, we're pretty lucky we get to be here. Joel, what's up? Big ups to the best narrator on YouTube. You know I had to do my midweek check-in. Thank you, Michigan Scotsman. Good to see you, bro. Thank you. What's new with you? That didn't mean that I'd spend my college years looking down in the mouth, though. Ho ho ho. And I had plenty of fun. Nerdy fun, sure, but fun nonetheless. And we had regular board game nights when I was in the dormitory, and then when I moved into an apartment with a few friends, we had irregular board game nights. One thing we all stuck with ever since we were children from very different backgrounds, though, was card games. All of us who banded together loved them. There were 5 of us. There were 3 boys and 2 girls, and we all had different games. Mine, as I said, was Magic the Gathering, and as luck would have it, there was a card shop in Madrid just a 10-minute walk from our apartment which held regular tournaments. Their usual structure was 2 different card game tourneys at a time to make the use of the fairly sizable space. This particular evening, I was entering a Magic the Gathering tournament with a deck that I was certain was unbeatable. On the other side of the room, a classic Pokemon tournament was going down. Gen 1 cards only, I guess, real OG stuff, so many of the players were these older men. And it kind of warmed my heart, though, to see a father and daughter duo. I assumed the dad was playing and his tween daughter was along for the ride, but she was actually the player, and Dad was just sort of chaperoning her. The Magic tournament started first, so I was focused on that. I absolutely destroyed my first opponent, this dude in his 30s, who took the loss in good spirits, complimenting me on a really unique, surprising deck. Now, my second opponent was a girl who I kinda had a crush on. She worked at the card and games shop, and she was a few years older than me, so I knew I had no chance. But she had long, dark hair, and she rocked the store uniform like it was something off the catwalk, and she had the most delightful accent. She was Portuguese, but she spoke Spanish fluently, and that little lilt was something to die for, I'll be honest. I knew that fighting her as my second opponent was going to throw me off my game. I think she knew it too, and was very chatty, asking about my life and my studies. She told me about some of the newer sets the Wizards of the Coast had coming out, which had me planning future decks just as I'm sure she intended. Now, we played for a while, and we were fairly evenly matched, and then I started drawing ahead, and I actually thought that I had a chance. If I could beat her at Magic, then surely I'd impress her, despite the age difference. Now suddenly, a shadow loomed over our game table. I looked around and saw a guy that I was certain I recognized, and then I placed him. His name was Sanit, and I'd beat him in a Magic quarterfinal. Why does my brain want to go to the worst case scenario with daughter-dad duo? What do you mean? I don't know why your brain wants to do that, honestly. Should probably get it looked at. Hurt Joel and Buttersucks? No, I'm not on drugs that would make not in pain, unable to sleep. So you haven't been able to sleep for 40 hours. That's crazy. I don't understand. What happened? His name was Sunit, and I'd beaten him in a Magic quarterfinal basically a couple of years ago. Now, I noticed he was holding a battered-looking Pokemon binder, so I assumed he was here for that tournament. I started to say hi in a little cheerful voice, assuming that he'd recognized me and had come to say hello. But then he pointed at me, looked at the staff member that I was playing with, now her name was Raquel, for ease's sake, and started telling her in a really loud, high-pitched voice that I was a cheater and a scammer, and she should ban me from the tournament. Raquel responded by saying that I had been playing perfectly honestly so far, and asked what made Sunit think that. She called him by name, so he was clearly known to the area and the staff, and he tells her that I'm just a cheat, and that I beat him when his deck was clearly better based on his research that he'd done on the internet. He claimed that I'd cheated him out of the grand prize and ruined Magic the Gathering for him ever since. If I recalled correctly, the grand prize was a €50 gift card for the store. A nice prize to be sure, but nothing worth abandoning the game forever. Now, Raquel told him to calm down, but he kept calling me a cheater. Others who'd...
Did I hear that right? Samit? Yeah, his name is Samit. Big pile of meat.
Pick up trash outside for 3 hours, you'll sleep great, get fresh air, and eat Mother Earth. You gotta graze on grass. If you just turn yourselves into a goat. I'm apparently a meth head too. Oh no, us Aussies, especially the special ones, don't do meth or guns. I was just joking about that. Because you said you've been up for 40 hours, so I was making a, what they call a facetious joke pertaining to a hyperbolic scenario, but I can understand it probably doesn't feel good to be awake for 40 hours. I'm sorry you gotta go through that, friend. Is the reading chat part of the story? No, it's just part of the live stream. I'm just recording the stories for tomorrow's video, which I will edit later. What's up, Daniela? Others who heard him, many knew. Others who'd heard him, many who knew me from regular tourneys, started telling him to shut up and calm down. Now, another store worker who was observing the tournaments came over and reminded Sunit that he'd lost his qualifying match today too, and that he'd called his opponent a cheater and a scammer then as well. Now, the staff member and Sunit both glanced towards the tween girl who was happily playing against another opponent, and I amusingly realized that he'd lost to that girl and then thrown a tantrum over it. Now suddenly, people began booing him and chanting, "Take that, Zubat," which seemed to have some kind of significance to Sunit. He started getting angrier and then vowed never to darken their door again. And the chants of "Take that, Zubat" grew louder, and this must have triggered him, as you say. Sunit decided that the best course of action was to try and flip the table that myself and Raquel were playing Magic on. Only, he wasn't strong enough to do so while holding his Pokemon binder in the other hand, and instead, he ends up falling backwards and loses his binder in the air. Now, for some inexplicable reason, Sunit had not placed any of his cards into sleeves in the binder, none of them, and the binder flew open, and tons of Gen 1 Pokemon cards seemed to explode everywhere. Even at a quick glance, I could see that he had not taken care of his cards. They looked crumpled or smeared or torn, and one of them looked like they had some sort of dried slime on it, the kind that you get used to. Slime. Slime Time Live.
Longest Aussie fan diss like that when she's down.
I didn't diss you, dude. I made a joke, you know? I'm sorry. Probably doesn't feel good when you're awake that long. I'm not dissing you, buddy. I literally all the time, everybody in the chat, I make like some sort of jokey joke. I mean, yeah. Sorry. Sorry if you took that joke seriously. It wasn't meant to be that way. Are they playing Pokemon or Magic the Gathering? The people in the game, in the story, are playing Magic the Gathering, but there's also a Pokemon tournament happening as well. And, yeah, and the guy that came over had some sort of Pokemon binder or something. What's up, Decay? Late to the party, but happy to be here. Been raining all day in the mountain. Yeah, it's been cloudy here. Cadence of your voice is calming. Nice to burn off stress from work, driving and falling asleep. Yeah, be safe. How long we been streaming? It's only 26 minutes. How's Joel today? I'm good. Dude, oh yeah, that was weird. Okay, so last night, woke up at 3 in the morning again, man. I don't know what the fuck it is with 3 in the morning, but had another sort of like 3 a.m. wake up. But apparently it was because well, it initially started because the Alexa, for some reason, has a volume check. Why the fuck does the Alexa have a volume check? But it does a fucking volume check at 3:08. Just like the most random fucking thing to like have a volume check at. And when it did, it was just like, boop, and, you know, and it woke me the fuck up. But then from that point of waking up, I felt like maybe my like cortisol was just like spiked or whatever. But I swear to God, I just like could not turn off the feeling that I was like surrounded by some sort of creatures, you know what I mean? You know, whenever your like anxiety is going high in the middle of the night, you just like feel like you're being watched, and it's, I don't know. It definitely felt like a haunting type scenario. And then every time I would start to like fall asleep, I would like twitch back awake or feel like I was getting like pulled awake. I don't know, man. It was fucking annoying as shit. So like my normal wake up call in the morning, I just had to like skip my workout then and do it later. But I did do it later, and it's just, I don't know, it's just so fucking annoying, man. I saw a Pennsylvania license plate over here in the Bay Area and thought it might be Joel. Yeah, I was just taking a look around. It's the witching hour. Also, last night was the meteor shower. Maybe your brain was trying to get you to watch it. I thought that was tonight. Living alone sounds scary. Sometimes it can kind of be fucking scary, bro. Because, you know, who am I supposed to talk to? You know, whenever shit like that happens. Or you don't really necessarily, like, when you wake up, immediately feel, like, at ease. And then I can't let my cat in, or he'll just wake me up all night, and I don't even know. Most connected electronics also update around 3 a.m. too. But it's just so stupid to, like, make fucking loud noises in the middle of the night just to wake you up. Checking volume. I mean, living alone is pretty great, but at the same time, there's just a certain aspect of it. Talk to my cat. Well, he's out of the room. I just can't leave the door open, or he will literally do everything in his power to wake me up. He just like he doesn't get the concept of sleep. He never has. He just like thinks you need to be up, you need to be with me. And if you're not, I need to be laying on you or fucking annoying the shit out of you. I just say, Stanley, it's time to go night-night. My sweet turdler is snuggling with me, and I haven't plugged in my headphones yet. Stanley, it's time. Time for sleep. Mama will take care of you. Do I build Legos or puzzles? I did when I was younger. I really like Legos, and I kind of think I would enjoy doing it again. Where does Pradeep sleep? I mean, he's got the whole house to sleep wherever he wants. I put my one backpack, like, outside my door, so that's, like, sort of one of his many checkpoints. Like, he has various sleeping areas that operate as, like, his rotation, and then the one outside my door is one of his, like, sleeping checkpoints. And I assume that he just chills there for a while I'm in dreamland. But yeah, he sleeps all fucking day anyway, so. And it was actually hilarious. Like, I've never had this happen before with him, but I came home after the gym, garage door open the door, through the basement, and then he's in like his little spot in like a nook inside the couch, right? And he's just fucking zonked. He's just like completely out. And I was a little bit worried. I like pet him a few times, and then all of a sudden he like opened his eyes like, oh, what the fuck, But normally he like hears everything, so the fact that he like slept through all of that was pretty funny. One of them looked like it had dried slime on it, the kind that you used to get with the He-Man figures. And I even noticed a couple of cards that would have been valuable, but they looked like they had been almost folded in half or maybe even water damaged. Sunit began frantically trying to gather up his Pokemon cards, knocking into tables and completely disrupting everybody's rounds. Clearly the store manager had seen the commotion. He usually watched the tournaments from the security cameras in the back, but now he came storming out. He was a big guy, both height-wise and muscular, and Sunit wasn't short, but he was very skinny, and you would assume that he would be intimidated, but he prodded the manager in the chest and accused him of running a crooked, suspicious tournament where people were allowed to cheat, and toddlers, and here he pointed to that tween girl, who must have been maybe around 12, were allowed to win. The manager told him that if he touched him again, he'd break his finger, and then he said that if he didn't leave, he'd be calling the police. Sunit started shrieking about his Pokemon cards, and the manager said that the staff would gather them up and call him in a couple of days when he calmed down so he could come collect them. Sunit said that that wasn't acceptable, because people like me, pointing at me, would steal his Pikachu. Now, I wouldn't have even wanted to touch his stupid cards, let alone steal them. And Sunit turned as if to leave and then spun around and smacked the manager in the side of the head with his now empty Pokemon binder. And the manager barely flinched. Then he jumped on Sunit, pinned him to the ground, while Raquel called the police. Finally, Sunit was carted off, and a number of the games had to be restarted, and ours included. Dogs will be a good bodyguard.
First stream and a good night, guys. Hey,
See you later. Kinda tired, bro. Touch my Pikachu, you get the Pika-Pew-Pee. What else is new, guys? Have you played any new games? Have you watched any new movies or shows? Are you doing any new projects? Is there anything cool happening at work? Are you dating anybody different? What is the deal? What is going on in your life? Finally, Sunit was carted off and a number of the games had to be restarted, ours included. Raquel ended up making mincemeat of me. I think that's a phrase they use in English, right? But I didn't mind, though. It had probably been the most eventful tournaments that I'd attended, if perhaps not fun. And that girl, the little one, did end up to go win the Pokemon tournament, though. I was watching, and her final opponent did not go easy on her, I think, and she was just very, very good. Finally, most people left, and I was one of the few customers who remained behind to help gather up Sunit's cards. Now, I'd like to say it was out of kindness, but mostly it was so I could spend more time with Raquel. Now, while I was searching, I did find this pristine Charizard card, which I was pretty sure that... You just bought Crimson Desert? Nice, dude. How was that? Did they update the controls? We saw Zootopia, and how was that? Oh, the Backrooms movie was so good. I watched it, bro. It's so interesting. That's awesome. Spider-Man was elite. Spider-Man was good. You're dating two best friends. Oh, you're dating two people? Sometimes you just want to have two girlfriends. It's a Souls-like game. It's pretty tough, but fun. Which one was that? Oh, Rise of the Ronin. Nice. I've been going to sleep around noon lately. Oh, damn. Waking up at 8 p.m. Are you going to play the Reanimal DLC on stream eventually? We need to know. Yeah, I was saying last time I think I might just wait till all 3 parts come out and maybe I can play them in sequence. Do you know how long, if you go to that one website, it says like how long to beat? Do you know how long to beat it is for the Reanimal DLC? And maybe that would help determine. You watch Project Hail Mary. Y'all ever seen the Ryan Gosling guy? He's pretty good. Yeah, he's decent. Started a new teaching job, and there's a cat that wanders around during the day. That's awesome. It just kind of comes in and hangs out. Distracts the students. Don't think I could ever date more than one person. Too much to manage emotions. Yeah, that sounds kind of miserable. Especially if they're like jealous of each other. I started studying again a lot of different subjects. I'm trying to become a polymath, a Renaissance man. That's cool. What's like your current thing you're trying to hone in on? While I was searching, I did find a pristine Charizard card, which I was pretty sure was pretty valuable. I showed it to Raquel, who showed it to the manager, and it was one of the more valuable cards. They joked that I should just keep it for enduring Sunit's abuse, but in the end we gathered up as many cards as we could find, including that Charizard, and just stored them behind the counter. The manager decided not to press charges. Now, I happened to be in the store when Sunit came to gather his cards because Raquel, who'd given me her number, tipped me off that he'd be there. And instead of being grateful that the store had dropped the charges, he started accusing them of a missing card. And when the manager asked which card it was, he tells them it was some Caterpie, which I don't even know what he was thinking there. And we all just kind of laugh, thinking he's joking, and then the rage passes over his face again. The manager produces a Caterpie card that is seemingly torn in half and asks if this is what he meant. And Sunit gleefully says yes. Apparently the tear was already there. With his terrible deck in his hand, Sunit just storms out of the store. Raquel and I both go watch him leave and notice that he's eyeing up two teenage girls, and he's so focused on them that he trips over. He's so focused on them that he trips over his bench and accidentally flings his Pokemon deck over the balcony of that mall and watches in horror as his beloved collection flutters down 3 stories, showering the shoppers with Pokemon cards. And for a moment, I was worried that Sunit would follow his Pokemon cards over the balcony, but instead he just let out some scream and then ran down the stairs. We watched as he tried to gather as many cards as he could, but I'm pretty sure he ended up with around a third of his deck. Whether he found that expensive Charizard, I have no idea. I did see him find his Caterpie, though, and joyfully kiss it. Clearly, there was something wrong with this kid. But all in all, there was a happy ending, I suppose. These days, I still play Magic, but I recently decided to try out the One Piece trading card game as well. And then Logan Paul happened, and I've decided to just stick with Magic with my friends in the village. I also play Marvel's Snap online, even if it makes me rage, almost as bad as Sunit and his Caterpie. Anyone here feel gravity fall this morning at 8:33 MST? Wi-Fi's guy told a good story about it anyway. Nothing happened to me. No, I didn't feel it. Maybe it made all of us just like poop our diaper or something. Maybe that's what woke me up in the middle of the night, was just a sudden gravity fluctuation or something. I don't even know. Maybe we were all in like a state of free fall but had no clue. I think we're going to focus on astronomy. I want to do physics and quantum science too. That's cool. So you just kind of like pick a topic, and what do? Just like read books? Or how do you even know what to study to like get knowledgeable about something? Is this guy being a huge loser the scary part? I guess so, yeah. I for some reason thought he was gonna like have a bigger crash out. You're an amazing fucking person. You help me more than you know. I'm out of the chatting. People can be rude, and I need to go to bed. Go with the Lord, and God bless. Thanks, dude. Good to see you. What's up, Susie Q? Meta announced a new policy that they will send a killer to you, so be sure to go to settings, my account, killer, disable killer to turn that off. Justin just steals every meme. All of his jokes are from the internet. Oh god. I'm super cool. Thanks, you're super cool too. tube in, and the story is Magic the Gathering. I'm currently working on a new deck while listening. That's dope. What goes into a deck, I wonder? I've had a creepier encounters at cons than this. You have to send one in. So I'm a 45-year-old guy, and boy do I have a story for you. Now I hope you're ready for a story about some of the weirdest people and events that I think I've heard on your channel. It may not seem scary at first, but the more I thought about it, the more I actually got really creeped out. The idea that there are people out there willing to do things like I'm about to describe is kind of messed up. So my town never has any kind of interesting cons or expos or even pop-up stores. We had a comic store, but I think they stock about 4 comics, 2 Gundams, and 98,000 Funko Pops. Needless to say, I don't collect Funko Pops, and no shames to those of you who do, as long as you know you're going to hell. I'm just kidding. Or am I? I don't know. Anyway, imagine my surprise when I saw flyers posted around town for an indie comic and artist con. It was being held in a warehouse that had just been purchased by some company, so I figured that maybe this was the start of some excellent, exciting events. Excellent, exciting events. One time when this was years ago, all of my Funko Pop dolls came alive in the middle of the night and ate me alive. They ripped me to fucking shreds. But I'll be honest, I think I deserved it after what I did to them. I don't care whatever level of writing or storytelling you have, just make sure that there's a point at the end. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's tough to, like, get stories that are so specific, but also, you know, always hit that exact, like, expectation of terrifyingness. Your deck and the amount of cards you're allowed to have really all depends on the format you play. I play Commander, so it's 100 card, but you can't have 2 cards out of the same name. Oh, okay. I figured it was like Pokemon where you have like a ton of the same sort of energy bullshits or whatever. Magic the Gathering is an expensive hobby, it seems like that. What Funko Pops did I have? I have one, I think, of Dragonite. I have one of Mew, but years ago, the only one I had for like years and years was Nibbler from Futurama. Just because I always thought like Funko Pops were stupid. So I just, whenever I saw it was on sale on Amazon around Christmas time, and it was like selling for like cheapest possible thing ever, I was like, Nibbler would be kind of funny. Anyways, they came alive and ripped a new asshole. Jules 3 AM Alexa story is better than Pokemon 2. Well, we'll switch it up there. Also, give me let me know which ones you think, like, keep track of how many stories we have. We already did one, but let me know which order you think the scariest ones are, like if you can remember. We'll put that one a little bit further down, but it's important that we, like, start with stories that are, you know, the most freaky. Yo, Letchery, it's been a long day and good to see you. Good to see you too, Flint. How you doing? You probably get a better story selection if the story categories weren't so hyper-specific. Yeah, this one's, you know, it's kind of out there, but Joel, you've never had a Funko Pop ever. Why you, Captain? I have 3, brother. Y'all don't even know me, bro. Just like I know you don't play. You don't even know what a video game is, bro. You got games on your phone. That's about it. You got Flappy Bird, maybe. Who even knows? You got Farmville on your Facebook profile. It was being held in a warehouse that had just been purchased by... Wait, this didn't... Where am I even at with this? Anyway, where am I right now with this? I don't even know. Holy Face SSMS. I got you, bro. Anyway, imagine my surprise when I saw flyers posted around town for an indie comic and artist con. Now, it was being held in a warehouse that had just been purchased by some company, so I figured that maybe this was the start of some excellent, exciting events. Comic-Cons, computer fairs, classic toy swap meets. And imagine I was being able to finally buy the 1980s Snake Mountain from He-Man that my parents could never afford. Imagine I was finally able to buy that 1980s Snake Mountain that my parents could never afford. I did have Castle Grayskull though, and I know they went without the Christmas. Jesus Christ, I can't read shit. Just retell the Durst story. Yeah, that one was fucking painful, but popular, I guess. Imagine I was able to finally buy the 1980s Snake Mountain that my parents could never afford. I did have Castle Grayskull though, and I know they went without that Christmas to afford it for me, so Mom, Dad, if your secret it's the fucking longest sentence in the goddamn world, holy fuck. I did have Castle Grayskull though, and I know that they went without that Christmas to afford it for me, so Mom, Dad, if your secret Let's Read listeners, I deeply appreciate you, but I do still desperately want Snake Mountain. Anyway, the possibilities were endless, or I guess we could be looking at DashCon 2.0, and if you're too young to know about DashCon, then look it up. Unless you're under 18, then absolutely don't. All I'll say is that someone peed in the ball pit, and that was one of the least worst moments. I say that as if I was there because I was, working security, thankfully. Now anyway, the day of the con came, and I excited Trash con. He-Man, She-Man, Scree-Man. He-Man just changed to She-Man because of woke. That would actually be really fucking funny if they rebooted He-Man and it was a woman. God, that'd be like peak to me. What are your thoughts about the new recommended vaccine schedule? Do you think we'll see new research? What do you mean? What's the new recommended vaccine schedule? Do they add more? They now have over 150 new ones. They got one for baby AIDS. It's a 9 vaccine combo, and it's actually given to the baby as it comes out of the womb, instantaneously. Especially if it's breaching. If the baby's in breach, then it gets the vaccine. Just kidding. What is the new vaccine schedule for... Schedule. Did I get vaccinated? But for what? For what? The core all children list 11. So under revised federal recommendations, only the following vaccines are routinely advised for all children: MMR, DTaP, polio, Hib, pneumococcal disease, varicella, HPV. Shifted to shared decision-making or high-risk groups. Proposal to split the MMR vaccine. A central directive of the new executive order mandates that the health department exploring split the combined MMR vaccine into 3 separate single antigen shots to space them out over multiple medical visits. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, it's a little fucking baby just getting like random shit in their bodies. The rabies vaccine. Oh, did I ever get the vaccine for COVID? No, I never did. My armpits piss me off, dude, since they think they need to excessively set 24/7 to grow hair back within 2 days. I know, bro, just let it grow. We're supposed to have hair under there for a reason. Anyway, the day of the con came, and I excitedly, they took off the Hep B. Well, the Hep B one was weird because it's like hepatitis B was primarily thrown in there. Well, initially it was created to give to like IV drug users and like prostitutes and stuff. And then the only real circumstance in which you could really see it, I guess you could maybe transfer it from mother to baby or something like that, but I mean that would have all. But you know, it was like the idea is that there would be like active blood on like the playground, and then a baby rounds up and like touches some like fucking rusty metal thing covered in blood. I don't know. It's just like the circumstances in which like a baby's gonna need like Hep B just never really made a lot of sense to me, but it is what it is. I think the weird thing with like vaccine schedules and all that kind of stuff is that you can never just like have a discussion about each one individually, right? Because I mean, each one individually, it's like, what, you know, what's it for? What's this disease? What's the likelihood? What's, you know what I mean? What's the side effects? Of course, they always want to tell you nothing, but I mean, like, it's worth asking, right? It's a fucking little baby with like no immune system. Crystal, thank you for the 7 months, Joe. Fun fact, I got Pokemon Crystal carvings now. Carvings, that's fun. Hey, Booze and Booze, what's up, bro? Thank you for the 10 gifters, my kind friend. Thank you, thank you. Guys, go subscribe to Booze and Booze. He is the GOAT. Thank you, bro. Very, very kind. Go say what's up to him. What new videos we got, brother? I didn't get the COVID vaccine, so my dysautonomia isn't from that. Plus, had it literally almost all my life, too. Just probably shitty genetics. Oh, interesting, Emily. I figured you would have gotten the COVID vax. But what made you not want to get it? Not that you've had to. I was just curious, because I didn't get it, because I didn't really think I needed it. You know what I mean? I was looking at the data as far as, like, hospitalization, all that kind of stuff. And then there was a pretty big study out of Israel, like right out the gate, which like showed, I mean, because the whole point of it was like mobilizing your RNA to like create the spike protein, you know, to then recognize the spike protein in case it does invade your body. And then it was like showing that people with natural immunity to it were like 27 times more effective at fighting off, you know what I mean? So it's almost like better to just go out into the wild and contract it and let your body deal with it as need be or whatever, instead of getting some random shit developed by DARPA. You know, I'm just like, fuck all that, dude. I don't give a fuck. And I work from home anyways, so I wasn't like forced into it, you know. I was dealing with a Facebook admin on a weird power trip today, so I left the group, time to listen to Let's Read and forget my worries. Dude, there's so many people on the internet that have just like weird power trips all the time. It's like they have no power in real life, so they just like go ham jam on somebody online. It's just so fucking stupid. Hey, see ya, Booze and Booze. Take care, bro. Do you think creatine gummies are less effective than the powder? I think they are. Like, I took them for a little bit and they're like fucking delicious. But the question about it is like, how bioavailable is it, or is it going to absorb into your stomach? So I started getting the capsules, and I think the capsules are good, but I think they're more expensive, sadly. Just because then they can, I don't know, absorb at a lower point in your GI tract, but it's kind of up in the air. I'm not really sure how I feel about the gummies. I didn't get it because it just seemed fishy how fast it came out right after COVID started. Turned out I was right. Interesting, Emily. I don't know why. I just kind of assumed you would be on board with that, like, whole crew, but respect to, you know, using your brain. I never got it because I got sick every 4 to 5 years and never go anywhere. Yeah, yeah, dude, you don't need to tell me, man. Everybody can do whatever the fuck they want. There's just there was so much social pressure, you know, people losing their jobs, people getting kicked out of the military, all this kind of fucking random shit, and it's just like, and then all this, like, I don't know, just crazy. I worked in a NICU, and while babies would come into the NICU with respiratory stress syndrome almost immediately after Hep B shots. Crazy. I've heard things about MMR. That's the one that I hear, like, and this is more anecdotal experiences. I'm not saying it's true or not. It's just stuff that I've heard where mothers who know their baby, you know what I mean? Like, mothers and babies that have this, like, unspoken language between each other. It's a lot of it's, like, body language, it's energy, it's, like, time spent with each other. It's probably, you know, maybe DNA connection. Who knows what the fuck it is? But basically, they know that their baby acts a certain way, and then after a short period of time, anecdotally, from what I've heard of getting like the MMR, suddenly they like don't seem attentive, they seem strange, and this is after like a crazy fever that they may or may not have had from the vaccine, and now all of a sudden they like don't make eye contact, and they're not making progress with their like language skills or, you know, things of that nature. And it does kind of make you wonder, like, what the fuck just happened, or did something happen correlated specifically with the MMR? I'm not really sure, but it's just a general curiosity, not a I'm not saying it's the truth, but, you know, if we're truly going to be scientific about things, I mean, I think it's important to have, you know, a placebo group or whatever. MMR made me so sick. I get it as an adult and always regret it, and always had brain fog since. Interesting. I just got told the MMR shot would cause antipyretic shock if he gets another one because of a reaction to it. Damn. Damn, man. I don't even fucking know. Has anybody had any friends that just, like, you know, their family was like straight no vaccines, and like, I don't know, they grew up in a homeschooled environment or something, you know what I mean? They just had nothing their whole life. I'd just be curious what they were like, you know what I mean? I believe MMR injured my 7-year-old. Haven't had anything since. Joe, I'm going to cry. This is such an important topic to talk about. People need to be informed. I mean, it's just like you're fighting against powers with billions and billions of dollars, you know what I mean? And all this social pressure and all of these, like, you get ostracized for even, like, asking a single question. But I mean, like, I believe, you know what I mean? They're obviously beneficial to some extent, but it's like if there's issues with a certain batch or maybe the schedule itself, I mean, these are questions that need to be asked, especially for, like, little baby brains that, you know, might experience swelling or an autoimmune response or, you know, it's all sorts of things. Do you get vaccines as a baby? Yeah, I think I got all my vaccines as a kid, at least as far as I know. I specifically remember, like, getting them when I was, like, fucking 6 or whatever the fuck for school, and then, you know, getting more of them in high school for football, and then getting more of them for college and all that kind of stuff. So presumably I'm, like, on the typical vaccine schedule. Who knows? Maybe I would have fucking superpowers without them. I'm just kidding. School requires it, otherwise I wouldn't do it. Yeah, I mean, that's how it goes, right? Otherwise you'd have to go to, like, some private school or be homeschooled or some shit. I think no vaccine is more of a Gen Z issue. I have no idea. What do you want to know? I was raised no shots queen over here. Interesting. So, like, you haven't had a single vaccine as a child ever? Except without COVID. Oh yeah, I mean, the COVID vaccine is not part of, like, the regular scheduled. It was more of just, like, it's similar to the flu vaccine. Like, whenever I was a nurse, I would never get the flu vaccine because, I mean, looking into it, I was just like, I mean, I would have to wear a mask during the, you know, periods of, during the fall and into the winter and stuff, which was a pain in the ass, but I would wear it. And then, but the reason I did it was because, like, most of the time with the flu vaccine, a lot of it's just, like, speculating on what the mutation is going to be that year. So, like, whenever I would look at the efficacy rate of, like, what it was every year and what that means, just, like, how effective it was at, like, actually keeping you from getting the flu, it was, like, less than 24%. So in my head, I'm just like, well, why the fuck am I getting this at all? Like, I'm probably just going to get the flu anyways. I don't know. I think everyone should just be informed on the shit that they're taking and stuff. I got mine as well, but once they offered free fries, I was out. Yeah, I remember seeing some, like, YouTubers, you know, they post on their stories. It's like, look, I got a free fucking donut. I got a free donut. Yippee! A free donut. I don't know. I mean, free donuts are cool, but I mean, at the same time, like, okay. Okie dokie. Not one shot. Homeschooled till the end of the 4th grade, and mother signed a religious waiver just so I didn't have to get any shots. Interesting. Do you feel like your immune... Do you have, like... Because some people say there's a correlation, and once again, I'm not saying this is true, it's just speculation. Some people say there's a correlation between, like, you know, certain vaccinations, ADHD, some people say there's certain autoimmune issues, some people say, like, certain allergies as well that develop after that. So do you have any health issues? And this is a random question, but, like, what's your IQ? Like, are you, like, a brainiac, or, I don't know. I'm just generally curious. Gwen, yeah, I'm keeping an eye for Gwen's name. Pretty sure to go to school you have to get the measles, mumps, and rubella shot. Yeah, I think all the schools have, like, certain expectations or whatever. I mean, you can extend it out too, like, wait until... I think some people can wait till they're, like, 5 years old to start, like, giving the typical schedule. I don't know if that's true or not. You just might not be able to get, like, care from a doctor by, like, turning it down or whatever. 2022 was a weird time. Vaccines being very political. If I was close to dystopia 1984 was, I again lost so many friends. Yeah, I remember I had a friend who texted me and said, like, you know, the typical sort of talking points, like, if you don't want to be a part of the solution, I don't think we should be friends. But it was so weird because it's like he literally already had moved away to his new job in like California, so like, and I only ever saw him tangentially through like another friend, so the fact that he felt like the audacity to text me like, hey man, if you don't want to be a part of the solution, it's like, bro, we don't even talk. Like, I don't give a fuck about your, like, moral high ground thing. But then it's so weird, like, all the people that were, like, mean to you about certain things, they just, like, come back out of the woodwork out of nowhere, and they're just, like, hey, what's up? Even though I know I was, like, a social asshole who just, like, followed the crowd, like, 1 year ago. I don't know, you know? It's like everybody's just so predictable. It's probably whatever, dude. I don't fucking care. Everybody's such an asshole. They can't use their own brain. Stayed there for 2 years. Oh, wait, where's Gwen? Did Gwen answer? Did she give us her blood work? I'm just kidding. Thank God I can't imagine not getting sick with chickenpox whenever on top of my tons of ear infection science special. Yeah, it's tough. I have ADHD, nothing special for IQ. I live in Cali until 17, got sick all the time, moved to Missouri, and hardly ever got sick. Oh, okay, interesting. Well, yeah, maybe there's nothing there. I don't know. My lower thyroid levels are lower and caused me to have a lower immune system. I got the mumps and measles after getting the vaccines. I was little, so my parents didn't let us until we were forced. Okay, I was a nurse. Yeah, I was a registered nurse from like 2013 till like 2019. I literally left nursing to go do YouTube like fucking a year. Like I stopped February 2019 and then around the end of 2019 into like early 2020 is when like shit started popping off with COVID news and all that kind of stuff. Vitamin D, most adults are vitamin D deficient. That's true, yeah. Vitamin D3 with K2, I guess, is the best absorption or whatever. And get your steps in. Get some sun. If you wore a mask and got the jab, do you feel stupid now? I don't know. I've seen a lot of people, you know, they have their opinions. There's some people that still defend it to this day, even with like all of the information that seemingly comes out of, you know, over the course of the years. But I don't know, that's what's so powerful about the politics of everything, is that you can set aside truth in the pursuit of identity politics stuff, and to me I just don't think that's an intelligent way to live your life. Just got HFM as an adult though, and it was horrifying. Other than that, seems to be able to fight most things off pretty darn well compared to other people in my house. Okay, interesting. What's HFM? I'll pay sooner or later. Yeah, I'll be killed here eventually, shot by an alien. Shot by an IDF soldier. You have some vitamin D injections. Okay, interesting. You never would have guessed, that I was a nurse. Well, yeah, I mean, like, I've always been more inclined towards creative, like, shit, being funny, that kind of thing. Doing the nursing thing was literally like my parents doing. They were just like, you should go to nursing school. And I was like, okay, I'll do whatever you say because I'm afraid, you know. Which is, honestly, I'm glad I did nursing and had the money to, like, invest into, like, doing YouTube stuff. Because, I mean, it gave me the ability to, like, live my life independently financially instead of being a starving artist or whatever the fuck. But I really had to, like, shove my ass through nursing school, bro. It was hard. It was just, because I never tried in school, and then all of a sudden I had to, like, fucking study, and it sucked, man. Nothing I do ever has an ounce of politics, and I'm so removed from politics, not even funny. That's good, Justin. I'm glad. I mean, if you can just, I don't know, so many people are just caught up in those identity things, and it's just like such a limiting factor in people living their life. Do you want my vitamin D injection? Giggity. Giggity, giggity. It's easier to fool them than convince them they've been fooled. I guess that's true, yeah. Myself included. My parents Asian by chance? Yeah, they're Mongolian. That girl at the end of the video say you were gay. Yeah, she did. It's my buddy's daughter. It's actually crazy, like, oh my god, like, she's 10, but she's, like, already, like, making those, like, you know what I mean? Like, just already knows, like, edgy jokes, like, and I'm not even the one teaching her that. She's probably just learning it on fucking YouTube, but, do you regret going to nursing school now that you're YouTube full-time? No, not at all. I don't think I would. I literally didn't know, you know what I mean? I didn't even know about YouTube as far as making money on it till, like, I could afford to, like, pay my own rent, and then went and lived with those roommates that I mentioned in the past that taught me how to do YouTube, and then they literally put me on the track to, like, success, which I'm always going to be infinitely thankful to them. The only worry as a woman with no shots was during pregnancy and the chance in contracting chickenpox that could harm the baby. They tested the blood to make sure I'd gotten chickenpox in my life. Okay, yeah. Marianne Makeup, thank you. Good to see you. Thanks for sleeping to the voice. The voice. I found out I had COVID from taking a test right before I was supposed to go to the doctor. I felt sick, like I had a double ear infection, and my coworker convinced me to take it. Zam. What made you switch up nurse to YouTube? Well, YouTube just pays more, you know what I mean? Like, in the realm of, like, making money, you'll come to find that, like, our society highly values entertainment above everything else. Healthcare, fucking childcare, education, all this kind of stuff. Like, at the end of the day, the number one place to, like, make money is, like, running, you know, capitalistic sales that interrupt your escapism, which, like, my channel would be an escapism, and running ads. Like, there's no reason in my mind that advertisements should cost as much as they do, you know what I mean, from a marketing standpoint. But some smart, you know, guy or girl at some point in the invention of, like, entertainment was like, you know what we should do? We should let you paint your logo on the back of our stage, but it's gonna cost you, you know. And they're like, oh, we'll pay whatever. And then it normalizes that, you know. Mike and Ike, welcome to the Buttersuck Cult. Thank you, my friend. Good to see you again. What's new? What's up, Nylon? Sorry, I got a little sidetracked there. Anyway, the day of the con came and I excitedly joined the queue of 5 other people waiting to enter. Now, I'm one of those old head nerds who had absolutely no shame in being an old head nerd. Despite that, I was clearly 20 years older than just about everyone else in the line and felt a little bit like Jeff Epi, if you know what I'm saying. And this was 8 years after he died, and it still applies, but I was basically a walking corpse compared to these young bucks. Now, I don't like being mean about people, but the line to get in, as it grew, started giving me the impression that it was kind of a specific type of convention. What is it? What is it you kids call it now? Oh, that's right, Gooners. One individual was wearing that famous shirt of anime girls who are clearly in the throes of pleasure. Trying to be funny, I said, "Hey, nice shirt, ma'am," and then pulled a goofy face thinking I might get a laugh, and instead I got scolded by 2 people, including the shirt wearer, for misgendering them, and I decided to just shut up after that. I realized that I was basically the cringy dad, and for once that I was actually grateful that the kids were at their mom's this weekend and I hadn't been able to bring them along, much to their disappointment. Now, judging from the crowd, I don't think that it would have been age appropriate, and when we were finally allowed in, my theory was only reinforced. The warehouse was large, but the con itself took up maybe a quarter of the space, and that was fine though. It's quality that matters, not size, isn't it? At least that's what my ex-wife used to tell me, although she is my ex-wife, so who knows. Now anyway, I walk along the 4 rows of stalls, looking down along each one to see what I could see. And almost immediately I could tell that nearly every vendor was selling some type of smut. I won't list all the various types of stuff, but you can imagine. I walked up one aisle and down the next, hoping for something to catch my eye, and there was one stall selling manga that didn't appear to be sexual, and I bought a few secondhand volumes that I recognized for my kids. Love Hina for my daughter, and One Piece and Naruto for my son. Is Hina the Love Hina? I don't even fucking know. Propane and propane accessories. Love Hina. Hina Niño. Who here actually reads manga? Ooh. There was one stall selling manga that didn't appear to be adult, and I bought a few secondhand volumes that I recognized for my kids. Love Hina for my daughter, and One Piece and Naruto for my son. I knew that they'd never read any manga, just watched a bunch of anime, and I'm pretty sure that they'd never watched any of the classics like One Piece or Dragon Ball. And most of what they were into were video game adaptations on Netflix. Who knew that my 6-year-old daughter would be a massive Castlevania fan? Now, nearly all of the stalls were independently drawn fan service and smut though, and not to be rude, but a lot of these artists needed to study, well, anything at all really. I made one pretty major faux pas when I asked a woman my age if her kid had done some of these drawings, and she angrily snapped that no, they were all her own work. I didn't let her know that I meant a preschool kid either. If you've ever been to an artist's alley at a smaller con, you'll know what I mean. Imagine that, but almost everything was that bad or worse. And as the con started to fill up, the smell of body odor and other things became overwhelming. I went outside for a cancer stick. Don't do it, kid, seriously. And then filled my mouth with strong mints, hoping that the smell would be overpowered. Now finally, I reached the 4th aisle and, my God, I found something that I personally was interested in. It was a comic vendor selling some fairly obscure comics as well as some handmade zine comics. Zines. Guys, we got a lot of nerd service tonight. You guys probably have like a fucking boner right now. We're going ham. Nerd conventions are awesome though. Love how Joel's weekly lives have just become a big family chat for us. It is cool. I mean, like a lot of you guys have been here for years. That's why when someone gets like offended by something I say, I just like feel bad because I'm like, oh fuck. This person stuck with me through thick and thin, and now I've hurt their feelings. Skip Beat is such an underrated manga. I wish we would get more showtime. What's Skip Beat? Never heard of that. That sounds cool. Those at-home COVID tests manufactured by China are designed to make more people test positive. Well, yeah, I mean, I just remember like there were so many things along like the lines of like even at the hospitals, like the incentivization process of if you were hospitalized with COVID versus if you died with COVID, you know, the insurance reimbursed, like just, I think with COVID, if you got the insurance reimbursed like $23,000, if you died with COVID, insurance, you know, the government insurance reimbursed like $49,000. It was crazy. It was like there was a fuck ton of money to be made in healthcare during COVID. I remember some of my friends who were traveling nurses were making like $100 an hour. Like they literally quit their job, you know, working in like a hospital system with benefits and all that kind of stuff, and then fucking we're making $100 an hour. It was wild. I've never seen you get angry at someone before, just once, so it's not like you get offended or get angry often. Yeah, I don't usually crash out. I usually end up getting upset when like someone's saying something that just doesn't make any, like they keep saying it, but it doesn't make any sense why they're accusing me or saying something of that about me, but then won't explain their point of view. And then I'm just like, I feel like I'm dealing with like a crazy person, a crazy homeless guy on the street or something. So basically, if you're homeless and you're nuts, you can trigger me pretty easy. And every TV commercial break is littered with med ads. Pre-22, there were 0, maybe a Tylenol ad. G FUD. Where did the billions go? Ear tagged. Yeah, I don't know. This is a new account. I had to close my Gmail since I got separated. It's always relaxed for me to listen to the live streams. It really helps me with my fucking depression. Hey, no worries, dude. Yeah, it helps me too. I mean, hanging out with you guys makes me feel like I have a purpose in life. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh yeah, I fucking have a YouTube channel. Because I swear to God, I get off of here and then I just like forget. I'm like, oh, I just go back to my, like, I pretty much just like stare at a wall for 23 more hours.
Died of COVID complications from being turned into a tomato paste on a motorcycle by a big rig on the highway. Oh yeah, I remember some of those crazy ones, man. Or like they would take like tree bark from a tree and use a COVID test and it would test positive. So, or like Diet Pepsi or some shit, you know, the PCR test, all that kind of stuff. I mean, there was so much shit. And you just like couldn't say anything. If you said anything, you were just like an asshole. Like everybody was like, he's a fucking racist piece of shit. It's like, how am I racist? And they're like, against the Chinese, of course. We figured it out. Crashed out today when my rooster charged me and I felt ass over tea kettle and a chicken poop. Holy crap. Dude, roosters are wild. Really all the fucking barn animals are kind of unpredictable. I see people like get rammed by their goats that they raise from baby goathood and then get like their knees fucking slimed by a fucking cow. You ever see those videos where like the cow just like randomly kicks backwards and just like fucking turns the guy's knee inside out and you're like, I don't even know. Like being a farmer, just that's some next level fucking shit. The streaming keeping the gaping hole of the abyss that follows you around at bay. Pretty much, yeah. That and like buying Pokemon cards and shit. No, I don't even know, dude. I gotta get into writing. I really gotta just like lock in on writing. Maybe it'll make me feel good. Where did the term crash out come from? I'm not really sure. I mean, it always seems to stem from like every like popular saying I think stems from like urban community or like rap community vernacular. Did you ever notice that? And then it eventually like makes it to like the internet and blah blah blah. I kind of wish, like, when you were talking about hanging out with your slimes, I wish the term hanging out with your slimes would be used more often. I feel like that was short-lived. You now are in our everyday life ever since the man asked you to wake me up. Ever since my man asked you to wake... Wait, did I scream and wake you up? You should write your own book, like my good friend, Hey Big Mike. Who's your good friend? I know, COVID was such a blur too. It's like, you just like almost want to forget it. But it just goes to show you, man, like, at a moment's notice, like, if the government wants to like drum up anything and turn neighbor against neighbor, it's so fucking easy. It's so fucking easy to do. There's a million trillion ways to Sunday to like divide a population and get them at each other's throats. And like, I really wouldn't be surprised if like we see camps in our lifetime or some shit like that, you know what I mean? Read about a nurse who solves murder mysteries. Nurse Jackoff, that's his name. Are you wearing a snail suit? Yeah, at the convention. I'm Robert. He asked you to wake me up. Now he says, Barbara, Joel's coming to get you. You should go look up that clip. It's from the first zombie movie ever. I forget what it's called. My brain's farting. Taylor Miller, thank you for the 5 gifters, my friend. Welcome. You guys now have access to bonus contento. I found something that I personally was interested in. It was a comic vendor selling some fairly obscure comics as well as some handmade zine. God damn it. Finally, I reached the fourth aisle and, my God, I found something that I personally was interested in. It was a comic vendor selling some fairly obscure comics, as well as some handmade zine comics that actually weren't half bad. They had the entire run of Wildcats vs. Spawn, a bunch of Gen 13, Wetworks, some older Charleston stuff, Randy and The Question, and they had newer creator-owned comics, some alternative covers of The Wicked and Divine that I'd never seen before. They had the entire miniseries of Smacks, which I'd never read before, a fairly new planetary omnibus. Oh my god, nerd shit. Nerd City, baby. Nerd fucking City. Why does it say Mischievous Dog? It's from Chills. Hi, Joel. Glad I can make it a live chat. Yeah, Cassandra, good to see you. What's happening? A fairly new planetary omnibus. Oh my god. They had the entire miniseries of Smacks, which I'd never read before, a fairly new planetary omnibus, that one graphic novel where Stormwatch gets killed by xenomorphs in one of the weirdest crossovers ever, and a bunch of other things that I won't go on about because either you'll have no clue what I'm talking about, or I'm about to send you down a rabbit hole of comics that are going to be crazy expensive to find. And these, however, were not crazy expensive. So cheap, in fact, that I couldn't bring myself not to tell the vendor that he was undercharging for everything. And he said he knew, but he was kind of an upset. Do I remember the disease in 2009? Wasn't that swine flu? Is that what you're talking about? Omnibus. If you feel a lump under your arm and it moves, should you worry or not? If it's under your armpit, it's probably just an inflamed lymph node, which just means that your immune system is kicked in for whatever reason, which can happen for all sorts of reasons. But if it's movable, that's a good sign, because if it was hard and stuck in one place, sort of a malignant something or other. Not saying it's malignant, you know what I mean? But since it's movable, that's a good sign. It's probably just one of your lymph nodes or some shit. But be sure to check in with your healthcare provider to double check. This is not medical advice. Anita Blake Vampire Hunter is my favorite comic. Nice, what's that one about? Is Mesa storming over there too? Mesa? Joel, what the fuck is the translation thing? I don't know. Sometimes it says mean stuff and sometimes it says nice stuff. I don't really get it. I don't even know why it's on. What's up, Lady Pac-Man? He said he knew, but he was kind of an obsessive collector, and everything for sale was something he owned in triplicate, and he really needed to... My God, dude. He said he knew, but he was kind of an obsessive collector, and everything for sale was something he owned in triplicate, and he really needed the space for the new Spawn and Savage Dragon collections. In triplicate, of course. Now, fair enough. A win for me, and I guess maybe a kind of win for him. Now, despite the low prices, I ended up with just over 300 CAD in comics and books. Despite the low prices, I ended up with just over $300 Canadian in comics and books, and then seeing the disappointment on the vendor's face when I didn't buy any of the handmade zines, I added another $25 worth to the bill. And when it came to my purchase... I don't know what's going on in my brain, bro. And when it came to take my purchases away... Maybe it came time? When it came time? When I came into the crowd... Not gonna lie, the monkey scared me. Is that a movie? McFarlane figures were so fucking rad. Don't they still do McFarlane stuff? for like Spawn and all that kind of stuff. A female human detective hunting ghouls, vampires, and other shifter creatures. That's cool. That sounds anime. Is he selling low because they're stolen or cursed? Yeah, probably. Well, he said it was because he had like triplicate, which is a bit odd. When it came time to take my purchases away, I realized that I was going to have to carry an extremely heavy load of books around the rest of the con. And I didn't have much left to look at, but I was here now, damn it, so I wanted to look at everything. Now, I didn't want to carry around this all for 45 minutes or so I asked the vendor if I could keep my purchases behind the stall until I was ready to leave. He said that was fine, and then gestured for me to come closer. I did so, and he told me not to look now, but the vendor across the aisle has been sketching me the whole time. I asked how he could tell they were sketching him, and oh my god, why is this difficult to find a flow? I really don't get it. Have I watched Angry Grandpa? Is that with Johnny Knoxville? I think I did see that one where he's like an old man and he just does like jackass, like sort of pranks and stuff. What did everyone eat for dinner? It's pretty much kiwi and the chicken. I asked how he could tell they weren't sketching him, and he said that they had hours to do that if they wanted. Plus, apparently he had an eye for these things. And when I eventually had the chance, I turned around to subtly check out the vendor who was drawing me. Now, they were a good 400 pounds. After my encounter outside, I didn't want to assume anyone's gender, but I thought that they might be female. Now, trying to look them in the eye, I kept glancing at their stall while pretending to look everywhere. And their whole shtick was extremely amateurish, extremely graphic, furry hentai. So graphic that I'm amazed that the con allowed for it to be out on display in some cases. Now, I most definitely won't describe any of this because you don't want to know. And there was also what I think were supposed to be anime body pillows, but they just look like pillows with vaguely anime-looking people with melon... Fuck, dude. I just want to find my motherfucking flow. Keep distracting me? No, it's okay. You can say anything you want. I want to be distracted. Keeps my brain from exploding. It's your birthday. Happy birthday, Duke the Legend. Joel, do you think beards are worth it all in the end? It's hard to avoid them, man. Especially if your hormones are all fucked with testosterone. Apparently they figured out we are capable of living 600 years. Can you expand on that? What do you mean? Yeah, technically this whole chat is just one big furry convention. There were also what I think were supposed to be anime body pillows, but they just look like pillows with vaguely anime-looking people with melons upstairs and hot dogs and beans downstairs, if you catch my drift. And they were drawn in either fabric pen or more likely Sharpie, which would come out in a couple of washes. But something told me that the people who bought these things weren't too intent on washing them. I decided that the safest tactic was to completely ignore the stall because I really did not want to know what this vendor had been drawing if it involved me. And instead, I headed down the aisle. But I guess that was the proper... Wieners and beans. Love Gator Light. Drank me some earlier today. Nice, dude. Nice and salty. Joe, I thought this was the goth baddie chat room. Dude, I fucking wish. Are you guys all goth baddies in here? Can we get a show of hands with all the goth baddies? Instead, I headed down the aisle, but I guess this was the Gooner aisle because nearly every stall contained drawings, art, and statues that would make an adult film star's grandmother blush. And then hilariously, there was one stall that was comprised of crocheted little creatures and life-affirming messages. And the poor woman running the stall looked like she was a librarian hanging over a shark tank. And she and I stared a glance at each other like, yeah, I know, and I felt like I found an ally. Now I was going to go over and talk to her when I got that feeling of the hair prickling on the back of your neck like you're being watched. Now I looked around, and there was someone who seemed to be in their 20s leaning against a pillar, staring at their phone and acting far too casual. They'd clearly been watching me now. Now, this is someone who I would have instantly clocked as male, but based on the see-through lace top that they were... This is someone I would have instantly clocked as male. What the fuck is going on? Oh, the South Park goth. Throw my hair to the side. Joel, did you see my crush, Jenna Ortega? What happened to her and Ariana Grande? They look so skinny and old, sadly. Yeah, man, I don't know. It's just like Hollywood's filled with like mental illness, right? You know, it's the same sort of like realm of like fashion and whatever. All of the eating disorders, the usage of like Ozempic and eating bowls of steam. But honestly, I think they needed to lose the weight. They were getting a little porky, if you ask me. No, this is someone I would have instantly clocked as male based on the see-through lace top they were wearing. Except they clearly had breasts and for some reason were only wearing the tiniest hot pants that made it very clear what they had or didn't have in them. I realized that the youth of today were just totally beyond me. I also realized that if this was the kind of con where people could just show female-presenting breasts, and by now some folks had brought kids in so it wasn't an 18-plus con, then I decided it was time for me to roll on out of there like a cheese wheel being chased by a gang of British yokels. And just as I'm turning to head back to the comic stall, this thin person just openly takes a photo of me. The flash was on and everything, making it extremely clear that they're in cahoots with the large Marge at the body pillow stand. I decided that they were Wario and Waluigi if Waluigi was kinda hot, and suddenly started laughing. And I guess Waluigi thought that I was laughing at them because they scowled angrily and very pointedly took another photo of me, fiddled with their phone and then said, "Sent," to nobody in particular. I headed back to the comic stall, wished my new buddy goodbye, and asked if he had a card or anything in case I needed to buy any more comics from him. And I told him that I didn't have much faith that the con would be returning, and he agreed. He didn't have a card, but he gave me his email and told me to hit him up if I felt like talking classic image or... What is this shit? Fucking Waluigi, holy shit. British yokels. Does anyone in the chat have content on their channel? I need new things to watch. Anybody here a content creator? Like for real? Like for real, for real? I think there's like a subreddit called Waluigi Did 9/11. Did you ever see that one? And I think it's just all like Waluigi fan art or like him with like a boner. I'm not even joshing y'all. Nix Tricks, SQB, thank you for the 5 gifters, friend. Appreciate you. Welcome, friends. Be sure to thank... Is my license still active? Oh, for nursing? No. No, I like purposely let it go out of active just so I would never have to go back to nursing, even if like YouTube exploded inwardly or whatever. I just never want to be a nurse again. Not that it's a great job, you know, but I think if anything ever went bad, I would just like have to creatively figure out how to make a new life. Move to the Philippines. He didn't have a card, but he gave me his email and told me to hit him up if I felt like talking class image or... What is this? Classic image or Wildstorm or... He didn't have a card, but he gave me his email and told me to hit him up if I felt like talking classic Image or Wildstorm or hanging out or anything. And I didn't exactly have many buddies since my wife and I split up, so I figured I might actually take him up on the offer. Now, hefting my comics and the manga with me, I started to head back to the exit. And suddenly I heard a voice yell, "Oi!" And I looked over, and it was the artist who had been drawing me. Now, they sounded note for note like Billy Butcher from The Boys, to the point that I thought that they were joking and pretended that they were talking to me. And then they yelled, "Oi! You come at this, you with the..." I gotta do Billy Butcher, I guess. Do you still talk to your old coworkers? Yeah, I have a few coworkers from nursing days that are my friends still. But some, I don't know. Some, not so much. It is weird. Like when you realize you like thought you had really good friends, and then you leave a job, and then you realize almost nobody was your friend actually. Like nobody follows up, nobody gives a fuck. Some of them do, but many of them just, they got their own lives and shit. How do you hypothetically reinstate your nursing license? Like the process? I don't remember and I don't care. I'm sure the funny thing is to get your continuing educational credits, which isn't the same as like reinstating, but to get nurses every 2 years or whatever had to get continuing ed stuff, and basically you would just get a magazine sent to your house, pay $150 or some shit, and then they would give you your continuing education credits, and then you would just do it on your own, quote unquote. And then it was just a big fucking racket. In the same way, taking your nursing license, cost X amount of dollars. All of it is just, state-ran racket bullshit. Is being a nurse harder than it looks? I assume they just call your name from the waiting room and take your blood pressure, weight, and temperature. Oh, well, there's all sorts of different nurses, right? So, the one you mentioned there is probably, at a doctor's office. And it's not even to say that those ones are, registered nurses, right? I'm not saying they aren't, but... that would be a chill job, but there's all sorts of, you go to a hospital, you got the ER, which is nuts. I worked in post-surgery stuff, as well as random medical stuff. And then there's the baby unit. I was always jealous of the baby unit because it was always just seemed chill. All of the, pediatric nurses, we'd pass by them on the elevator. They were so happy all the time. All the fucking time. I actually wanted to marry a fucking pediatric nurse. And it sucked because, dude, I swear to God, my first fucking day, this is going back more than 10 years. It's kind of embarrassing. But I remember my first day on orientation, starting at where I had worked. There was just this beautiful, and she was going into pediatrics or whatever, and getting her orientation where all the nurses kind of convene. And just the nicest fucking person ever. But she had just got married at that point. And I swear to God, if she wasn't married, we probably would have got married. There was just some fucking astounding vibe between us. And it was kind of insane too, because I just remember at the time we would talk. And I just remember her just chilling in my car, and we would talk for a long ass time, even though she had this I don't even know what the fuck she was doing. Why the fuck was she hanging out with me, even though she had a recent husband? And then I swear to God, I'm not even joking, we went to a fucking party with some other nurse that she worked with that I knew through another friend. And I remember while she waited for her husband to pick her up, she was sitting on the fucking steps of the party and was holding my hand, and I'm just you bitch. Anyways, the one that got away, folks. The one that... No, I'm just playing. Did I propose? Do you know how to tell if you have strep or just inflammation due to the acid reflux without looking at it? By the way, since I can't look, there's visual signs but not feeling good. I don't know if you'd be able to tell until someone did a swab of your throat or whatever. And if you have acid reflux, it's that bad. It's hard to tell if you're just experiencing GERD, or you might just have to go to the doctors and get them to swab you. But you could also do some warm water with salt, gargle to help just kind of like dry up all the bacteria and stuff, and try that for a few days. Did she introduce you to her husband? No, I never even met the guy. That was like the weirdest part. But yeah, she was cool. Anyways, and men and women can't be friends. I mean, they can be, but it's like whenever you both like each other, or like when you both think you're both attractive, it's hard to like, just keep it fucking chill. You hit it off with, was she your age? Yeah, we were the same age, like coming out of school and stuff. You guys are all my patients. I gotta check you all in. And check your diapies. Then when they yelled, "Oi, you at the comic stand?" I couldn't exactly feign ignorance when they yelled. "Oi, come over here, you C-word." And they literally said the C-word, not the C-word, and then I kind of had to obey. "What's your name, you C-word?" the vendor asked, and I said I was called Huey. I said this as a joke, thinking that I was playing along with his character. And they didn't seem to get the joke at all, which is when I realized that this was just their voice and they weren't doing a Carl Urban impression at all. Next, the vendor pointed to a tiny badge on their chest, so I had to lean in to see it just as they raised their arms to stretch. And this caused me to whiff their BO, which I swear smelled like feces was coming out of their pores. And I'm not trying to be mean here. If anything, I'm toning it down. I was genuinely starting to get creeped out just being around these people who were behaving like this was... Holy shit, it's taking forever to get to where we're going. Oi, cutie pie. The C-word. Joe barely helps me nurse-wise. I'm usually too stubborn to ask him stuff, but I'm not feeling good at all right now. Too damn stubborn. Oi, you, cutie patootie. What are you buying? Want some Pokemon cards? What are you selling? Got any slabs? Got any PSA 10s on that? I was genuinely starting to get creeped out being around these people who were behaving like this with kids present. I'd seen maybe one security guard the entire time, and that was when I'd gone outside to engage in my bad habit. And then there was the person with the see-through top and skimpy underwear who had no qualms in showing off their body parts to all and beyond. And I'm all for the free the nipple if it's freed in appropriate places. No, anyway, the vendor's badge said Angel. She, her, they, them, fey, fat. And holy God, was I too scared to ask if the last word was a typo. Now anyway, what the vendor showed me was maybe the most conflictingly terrifying thing I'd seen in my life. The art was good, great even, and surprisingly so, to the point that I don't think that the art for sale had been drawn by the same person. It depicted a centaur rearing up on its hind legs with an absolute giant set of male genitals on display. The centaur was being ridden by an equally naked anime girl elf who was doing that one face that I mentioned earlier. But then the centaur's face was half human, half horse, and looked very vaguely familiar. And I asked who the centaur was, if it was from an anime that I'd seen, and the vendor went absolutely nuts. They leapt out of their seat, which I then realized was a wheelchair, and knocking their con table and knocking around? I don't know what the fuck they... What's fey fat? Is that like a fake fat person? Like you identify as a fat? Or is it fairy related? My gender is Chungus. Big Chungy. Oh, man. I asked who the centaur was, if it was from an anime that I'd seen, and the vendor went absolutely fucking nuts, leaping out of their seat, which I then realized was a wheelchair, and knocking around their con table and its contents. Now everywhere, they started... God damn it. Why do a period and then like have one word after the period? Like, doesn't make any fucking sense grammatically. Knocking around their con table and its contents, period, everywhere, period. Like, I don't get that emphasis at all. Number 15, Big Chungy. I always identified as a big chungy since I was little. Since I was a little chungy. You thought I couldn't cuss in my stories? What did I say? I asked who the centaur was, if it was from an anime that I'd seen, and the vendor went absolutely nuts, leaping out of their seat, which I then realized was a wheelchair, and knocking around and over their con table and its contents everywhere. They start screaming at me in that Billy Butcher voice that I was an effing R-word. Again, exactly how they worded it, and couldn't I recognize my own face when I saw it? Wasn't it obvious that the centaur was me and I was being ridden by her? Was I really that ignorant to dismiss a prolific artist who had over 30,000 followers on Blue Sky? I tried to apologize while backing away, saying that it's scientifically really hard to recognize your own face, especially if it's been made into a partial horse. But I guess she was having none of it. She started screaming that I was kink-shaming, breaking the rules of the convention. And now, 2 security guards came running up who both looked like they could be siblings of that Wario and Waluigi, but like not Mario and Luigi. Clones of Wario and Waluigi if they became Paul Blart Mall Cop. I don't know. It's funny now, but at the time, they had freaking batons out, and while I'm pretty sure that these hired security guards were not allowed to carry or use anything in a threatening manner. And my indie comic friends started trying to defend me, saying that I'd done nothing wrong and that the other vendor had drawn adult images of me without my consent, and I was just simply opting not to engage with it, but this Wario security guard yelled at him that if he didn't shut up, he'd be expelled from the convention as well, and all his stock would be confiscated as agreed upon in the contract that I guess he signed. Now, the comic artist began to say that he hadn't even signed a contract yet, but the Waluigi cop started approaching him swinging his baton around. Because I didn't want my indie comic friend getting into any trouble, I just yelled that it was all me, and that I was leaving. I started running for the door when I felt a thrown baton hit me in the shoulder. Not enough to make me drop my bags or anything, but enough to leave. What the fuck is going on? Oh my god, the story still goes. Holy shit. Kink shaming. Why would the security enforce the kink shaming as? I don't even know. It's the gender police. Freeze! I started running for the door when I felt a thrown baton hit me in the shoulder. Not enough to make me drop my bags or anything, but enough to leave a bitch of a bruise when... Not enough to make me drop my bags or anything, but enough to leave a bruise when I checked later. And the blow caused me to stop in my tracks just long enough for Wario Cop and Waluigi Cop to grab me on either arm and then march me to the entrance and literally throw me into the parking lot. Somehow, during all of this insanity, I managed to hold on to all the comics and manga that I bought, and somehow it still felt like a win. I was just worried about my indie comics friend, but an email to him later that night confirmed that he was able to get all of his things and leave at that point. And only one more messed up incident occurred before I finally got to my car. The original Waluigi, the kinda hot one with a see-through top, came running after me. She told me the others were her siblings and uncles and made her dress and act like this. Now, I thought this was some ruse, but she was folding her arms over her chest to cover up and clearly very insecure. Now, the more I talked to her, the more I realized that she was just some vulnerable adult, so I asked if there was anything I could do to help or anywhere I could take her to be safe. And she said there wasn't, that she just had to put up with this family until she saved up enough money to take a long-distance
Kitty, what are you doing?
Pradeep is rolling around. I'm not a content creator, but I have tons of playlists I can share music, movies. There you go. Dude, this story's all the fuck over the place. Holy shit. This reminds me of the Limp Bizkit story that killed the teacher. It took the longest time. It really does, bro. Fucking Christ. She said there wasn't, that she just had to put up with this family until she saved up enough money to take a long-distance ride out of the city. And I told her I'd pay for her ticket if she let me take her to the bus station and see her off the bus, so I knew that this wasn't some... Is this even important? Like, is any of this fucking important at all? I told her I'd pay for her ticket if she'd let me take her to the bus station and see her off, so I knew this wasn't some kind of scam. And I told her she could sit on the back seat so she didn't feel uncomfortable and that Dude, I don't even know what the fuck is going on with this story. I told her I'd pay for her ticket if she let me take her to the bus station and see her off, so I knew this wasn't some kind of scam. What scam are we talking about? What fucking scam are we fucking talking about? Is he getting scammed? Is he scamming someone? I don't even fucking know, dude. Is this what you guys have to fucking listen to in my videos? Just like a mishmash of garbledy-gook? I told her I'd pay for her ticket if she'd let me take her to the bus station and see her off, so I knew this wasn't some kind of scam. I told her that she could sit in the back seat so she didn't feel uncomfortable that I'd try anything. And she agreed, and we drove to the bus station and she got a bus to a large city 2 days away where she said that she had friends that she could stay with. I gave her my contacts, and a few days later I heard from her saying that she was doing well and had told her family not to look for her. And so I guess that was my good deed for the day, and while I tried to make this story sound kind of funny, it's only because it happened just... And so that was my good deed for the day, and while I try to make this story sound kind of funny, it's only because it happened not that long ago, and it's still hitting me how incredibly messed up that poor girl's life must have been, to need me to save her and to be bullied like that by her sibling. I did end up telling her before she got on the bus that she and her sibling kind of reminded me of Wario and Waluigi, if Waluigi was secretly beloved, and she found this hilarious and said that she was going to go by the nickname Waluigi now. Now, when I got home, I emailed the indie comics guy to check if he was fine, like I mentioned, and I knew that I wouldn't hear from Waluigi while she was on the bus, most likely, and it was a relief when I did hear from her. It had been a few days since then, and I hope she continues to thrive. That night... Oh my god. Oh my fucking god, what are we even talking about? And that night, I just laid there staring up at the cracks in the ceiling, and as I started to fall asleep, all I could see was the outline of a centaur with a giant phallus and my own face in the patch that I needed to paint over. I think I'm going to do some redecorating this week, as that experience truly was insane. We need a skinwalker in the story, yeah. Jesus Christ. How do you choose the stories to narrate? I just have editors try to find stuff related to the topic, but sometimes it's just, I don't know. I guess it's going to be tough to find stuff of interest. I mean, it's still interesting. It's just like some of them fucking... Do I do northern accents? What kind of northern accents do you mean? Scouse. That one was so scary because I got so lost and confused. Yeah, it's just like... I don't know. Just too much convoluted shit. Just needs to get to the fucking point. Am I fucked up? Fucked up? No, I'm just drinking water. Well, you would... No, I might just ask the editors to, like... I don't even know. Like break down this... Because they can edit it so much, but... remove parts of the story that are just, like, completely erroneous to, like, anything. Like, I just don't give a fuck about... I mean, it's kind of immersive in some parts related to, like, hearing about the comics and stuff, but some of it's just so many side tangents. So many people that send in stories just gotta, like, tell you all about their fucking life, and it's like, oh my god. How long does it take, months or years for stories to run in live? I submitted a story from a time as a Walmart Craigslist employee. Oh, shit. I'll have to look into some more Walmart stories. So, I'm a female artist, and I'm kind of popular on Instagram and other social media. I'm not going to use this story to promote myself or link my work, because that feels a bit too self-promo. But there's surely going to be some weirdos who hear my story and contact me, being bizarre about it. And since the events of the convention, I've started drawing slightly more risque pictures too, and I don't want to use this particular story to promote something sexy. I think you'll understand why when you hear it. And so the main reason that I've started taking looter commissions is, frankly, because of the money. I was working up as a... My voice cancels out the bad story time. Well, that's good. So the main reason I've started taking looter commissions is, frankly, because of the money. I was working as a pinup artist with a strictly no nudity policy. You know, kind of like burlesque shows that hint that they're going to show something, but they keep it demure. Demure. Damn it. I know that word too. Demure. You know, kind of like burlesque shows that hint that they're going to show a little something, but they keep it demure. The problem is, these days people don't want demure. They want full Rule 34. I think instead of erroneous, you mean extraneous. Yeah. I think that's true. What's the difference? I'm popular and beautiful and petite and sing and dance well and take parasitic tea. Is that where you... Do you dance good, Misty? You dance good? Erroneous equals wrong. Okay. Yeah. Extraneous equals unnecessary. There we go. Thank you. Learn something new every day. I'm a lifelong learner, folks. I've been learning all sorts of stuff lately. It's crazy. I pretty much learn almost all of it. 95% of stuff. The problem is, these days people don't want demure. They want Rule 34. And I stuck to my guns for years, determined that my character work was going to be underwear maximum. God, what the fuck is that? I stuck to my guns for years, determined that my character work was going to be underwear maximum. And then a friend offered me about 5 times what I would earn from a regular pinup if I created a topless digital pinup of her to promote her OnlyFans. And then she told me to post it on the various places that I could post these things to get commissions, and my god, the jump between, say, non-nude legally distinct character who looks like Harley Quinn, but isn't compared to a cheeky nipple or bare butt. Holy fuck, I cannot follow this, bro. The jump. Or maybe my brain's just fucking... I don't like nerd shit. I don't know. I've kind of had enough. I mean, I guess that's all we really get in the realm of, like, Reddit and, like, stories is just, like, nerd shit anyways, because everyone here, not you guys, but, I mean, everyone on the internet is, like, terminally online. Okay. The jump between, say, non-nude, legally distinct character who looks like Harley Quinn but isn't compared to a cheeky nipple or a bare butt was colossal. And basically I sold out when I realized just how much extra money you can make by including a bit of nudity compared to just teasing, and I was floored. And the one thing I get asked regularly, though, is that if I'll start an OnlyFans, or the very least turn the pinups of myself into nudes. I'm not going to lie about it. The whole thing started as self-portraits in my underwear to try and boost my confidence. I was incredibly shy and I wouldn't even go to the pool with a bathing suit, and the same friend from earlier encouraged me to draw myself as a sexy fictional character. I have a whole... Screaming into the void. I don't know, man. We're getting there, honestly. New rule, though, if you guys send in stories, please minimize your extraneous side tangents to 1. You get 1 side tangent. Otherwise you will be labeled a nerd. A raw-dogged nerd. I was incredibly shy. I wouldn't even go in the pool with a bathing suit, and the same friend from earlier encouraged me to draw myself as a sexy fictional version. And I have a whole backstory. I'm an assassin working for MI6, and I seduce my targets with cocktails and lingerie, and then it's 2 in the chest, 1 in the head. She's my OC, basically, and she does actually look like me, and people seem to be attracted to that, hence the numerous requests for nudity or the OnlyFans. Now maybe one day in the distant future I will do a nude pinup of my OC, but it won't be anytime soon. I'm not like the other girls, guys. People do like to talk about a lot of pointless shit in their stories. If we have a story, how can we send them to you? You can send it to letsreadsubmissions@gmail.com. Thank you. Maybe one day in the distant future I'll do a nude pinup of my OC, but it won't be anytime soon. And there's a reason for this. Just as I was building up my confidence and drawing more OC selfies, an event happened that creeped me out beyond all explanation, but I'll try. Like I said, I have a decent-sized following in the artist community, and a couple of years ago I was extremely lucky to be invited to run a table in artists' OC, yeah, OC is like means like original character. It's just like mega nerd shit. It's like when you're an artist, you draw a character that's like your thing. Sometimes it's like your avatar that represents you or whatever the fuck. And I don't know. Usually it's anybody who has like OCs. If I see them, they're usually just like absolute fucking dog shit. I'm still lost way back when you narrated some dad misgendering blabbing some cringe talk. Well, we've moved on. He survived. Like I said, I have a decent-sized following in the artist community, and a couple of years ago, I was extremely lucky to be invited to run a table on a relatively big con. Usually you have to pay for these tables, but they invite a handful of artists who they think will make them money, and they offer free tables in exchange for higher cuts of sales. Now it's a gamble, but it usually works out far more lucrative in the long run. It did for me. And back then I was still selling non-nude pinups. But when I eventually shifted to what the fuck is that word? Coquettish. Holy shit. I'm never going to a convention in my life. Coquettish. What kind of devil word is that? Behaving in such a way to suggest a playful sexual attraction, flirtatious. A coquettish grin. Holy Christ. Sounds like somebody with an OC would say. And convince people like submit talking their life story and talking what they ate before they submitted. So what are the plans for the next day when submitting something? I don't know. Back then, I was still selling non-nude pinups, but when I eventually shifted to coquettish outfits, a little bit of underboob or side boob, the occasional nip, slip, etc., then my profits skyrocketed. I do a handful of licensed characters, but I tend to keep those clothed, but I have my own cast of pinups, male and female, who I'm planning on featuring in an erotic comic or graphic novel one day. But again, the self-portraits were always clothed and existed purely for confidence. I'm told I'm pretty, but I'm a mousy girl with jaw-length hair who's... Oh my god. She's a mouse, dude. She's a living, breathing mouse. She wants cheese. OT or OG like this? God damn, this chill sumbitch is the OG. Like, what? Am I correct in my vernacular? No. OC is like original character. It's like something you make up for like D&D or some stupid shit. But then you end up drawing it, and then people eventually on like Blue Sky want to see it naked and jerk off to you. And then you eventually find out that they're gonna kill you in your sleep or something. I'm told I'm pretty, but I'm a mousy girl with jaw-length hair who wears sweaters that hides any possible body shape I might have, and my idea of a short shirt is one where you can see my shoes rather than dragging along the floor. The pinup art does boost my confidence. And when the following event happened, it was the first time that I've ever had the courage to sell it at a con. And as I said, I got a free table, and my free-spirited friend made me play Uno. If she won, then I had to sell at least 3 of the least revealing pinups of myself, and she won by maybe a point, and I forgot how Uno scoring works, but curse her regardless. And so while I've later started selling risque images, back at the con where this happened there was no nudity. I still sold a lot, particularly the legally distinct Oh my god, these are like tricky fucking words and strings of words fucking mixed together to make longer words that are made of words, and I read them. Ugh. I think this girl might be a Mo anime character. What's Mo? Boomers love mousy women that keep getting older and they stay the same mousy. They can just crawl around the holes in your walls. I still sold a lot, particularly the legally distinct, definitely not licensed characters like White Widow, Jane Grey, and Wolf Machine from the Y-Men, and I was very pleased to see that my original characters were selling well too. And then along came Granddad. The guy must have been about 90, and at first I thought that it was a cosplay. His skin was so wrinkled and his body so shriveled that it had to be a costume. But as I suddenly eyed him up while he pawed through my artwork, I realized that no, he was genuinely a very ancient fella. He held up a picture of a certain comic book character and asked if I had any images of her naked, ideally touching herself. I said, no, I did not, and this was a strictly non-nude pinup art, and he could find anime body pillows and all sorts of weird stuff over in the 18+ section. And he said he didn't want that weird cartoon nonsense. He liked my art because it reminded him of the playing cards that he collected during war. And I almost asked him if he meant the War of 1812 and then felt like that might be a bit mean. And then I wished that I had been mean when he asked me if I had any pinups. I don't want to read anymore, dude. Jesus Christ. Then I wish I had been mean when he asked if I had any pinups of myself. And of course, through gritted teeth, I had to point them out because they were right there on full display. They didn't show anything that you wouldn't see in a pretty subtle bathing suit, but somehow this old man looking at them made me feel completely exposed. It did help when he... It did help or didn't help? Like, why the fuck? It didn't help when he visibly licked his lips and then did something with his dentures to cause them to pop out and come back again. And I pretended not to notice and told him that those were my special art, limited edition. Oh my god. It didn't help when he visibly licked his lips and then did something with his dentures to cause them to pop out and back in again. I pretended not to notice and told him that these were my special art, limited edition, and thus more expensive than the others. I hoped this would put him off. And instead, he croaked out a question asking if I had any full nudes of myself, preferably in a pose that I'd rather not describe, and that he'd pay top dollar for that art. An offer that I couldn't refuse, he said. He reached into his jacket and pulled out some $10 bill with these shaky hands, and I told him that this would buy him my smallest piece of artwork, and that the kind of images he was looking for were not available and did not exist. He responded to this by asking if I had an Only book, which I couldn't tell whether he meant OnlyFans or Facebook. Either way, I said no and pleaded ignorance in claiming that what he could see on the stalls was all I had. Now finally he asked if I had any art of naked farm girls milking cows, and that was the final straw. I told him that he was making me very uncomfortable and could he please leave and go somewhere more suitable before I call security. He waddled off, and I was horrified to discover that even at his age, either he had a banana in his pocket or, well, you get the idea. And after he left the aisle and headed into the hardcore hentai section, I felt the need to examine the art that he'd been pawing through. The art, even the prints, was thankfully covered by plastic sleeves. I have no idea what substance he'd managed to smear on the sleeves, but each one had fingerprints with a sort of wet slime on them. I quickly disposed of all the sleeves he'd touched and boxed up the remaining art, ready to fix up for the next day's con. It was coming to the end of the day anyway, and I only had an hour left before I'd have to pack up and go home. Thankfully, I didn't see the gross old man again, although I did notice a trail of something leading away from the stall and towards the hentai. K starts my name. Thank you for the 2. Give me your facegram. Joel, would your fans notice if someone else in the chat started reading for you in chat? Probably. I'd be like, what the heck? That's Amber J, not Joel. Why were there no Paw Patrol stickers? Dude, I don't know. That's a good question. Are you guys going to PawCon next week? I'll be there. Me and Misty. Okay. I gotta be honest though, this story is probably gonna be the one that starts the set. I feel like thus far it's been the best one. Just simple, straight to the fucking point. Creepy old man. Swoon Deep, thank you for the $1. Have I gone to a Renaissance fair? I have, yeah, a little bit. And they're pretty neat. Have I? I don't know. I've definitely eaten a turkey on a fucking stick. Maybe it was just Disney World. Also, yeah, turkey on a fucking stick is like a lot. You like think it's a great idea, then you get it and you're like, what the fuck is this thing? Just like some fucking giant heavy pile of meat that you got to deal with, and it's like sticky and gross and all up in your shit. Thankfully, I didn't see the gross old man again, although I did notice a trail of something leading away from the stall and towards the one area that I... Hovel. What the fuck is a hovel? A small, squalid, unpleasant, or simply constructed dwelling. People were living in a rat-infested hovels. Oh, interesting. Yeah, a werewolf at the Renaissance actually would be kind of sick. Turkey on a stick, you mean a turkey leg? No, they just started peeling the turkey apart, just mainly the feathers. Started gluing it to a stick and handing it out. Of course, that's what we get in Joe Biden's America. It's technically still Joe Biden's America. I've got some spooky desert stories like skinwalker stuff, some related to being a medium, but they're all short. Would you? Yeah, send it in. Let's read submissions at gmail.com. Why are so many ladies willing to let married, old, creepy, bald guy on? So willing to let a married, creepy, bald guy on? Or you mean lead them on? Or what are you talking about? I know, what the heck is their problem? It sounds like Misty. Thankfully, I didn't see the gross old man again, although I did notice a trail of something leading away from the stall and towards Hentai Hovel, as I'd come to nickname it. There was too much viscous liquid for it to be, well, you know, but it almost looked like pee mixed with something thicker. Maybe it wasn't, but not my problem, not my business. Thankfully, since the convention had one more day left, I was able to leave most of my stock behind overnight. I did take the box that needed re-sleeving though, and I also decided to remove the pinup art of myself. Uno score be damned, I didn't want that old man or someone like him to be getting off to a picture of me, even if the outfit was no more revealing than a 1920s bathing suit. And as I was loading the box into my car, that's when I noticed him. He was standing over by some garbage cans, a fair distance away from my car. I wasn't concerned I'd be able to get into my vehicle and drive off before this idiot old weirdo could even get close. And that's when he started to run. And I mean run. This old man, and now I'm questioning whether maybe really was an excellent costume, came sprinting towards me. I ran for the driver's door, and I nearly dropped my keys fumbling to get the door unlocked. He began screaming at me, things like cock tease, parasite, and various ethnic slurs that had no relevance to me whatsoever. And then the usual misogyny and the kind of language that you might hear from some disgusting old man. And I finally managed to get into my car, which of course wouldn't start, and my heart was pounding. And as I looked in the rearview mirror, I could see this I finally managed to get into my car, and my heart was pounding, but of course the car wouldn't start. Finally, the car started, and the engine must have alarmed him, and he slips, and he'd hit it. Finally, the car started, and the engine must have scared him as he slipped, and it almost looked like he hit some banana peel in a cartoon and managed to pull off some hilarious fall as... And he slips, and it looked like a hilarious banana peel cartoon slip, and managed to pull off a hilarious... I don't even know what the fuck this sentence is saying. Someone donated $2. Hey, Mr. D, thank you for the 2 cents. Enjoy your content. Thank you, Joel. You're welcome, Mr. D. Good to see you. God bless you, bro. I just feel like there's so much fucking double sentences in here. I don't even know what the fuck they're saying. He slipped like he'd hit banana peel in a cartoon and managed to pull off... I don't even know what this is. He slipped, like he'd hit a banana peel in a cartoon, and managed to pull off a hilarious fall as I started to drive off. And then, the final twist to this insane tale, from the waistband of his trousers, he pulled out a... What the fuck? What does this even say, bro? The old man, they managed to catch a brief smeared... Oh my god. Pulled out a time. Can I explain penar? Yeah, it's just like a word for penis. Sorry. I don't even know what the fuck I'm reading. He slipped, like he'd hit a banana peel in some cartoon and managed to pull off a hilarious fall as I started to drive off. Of course, immediately I'm dialing the police, and when I eventually heard back on a follow-up, they couldn't find the old man there, but they did manage to catch a brief smeared image of him on one of the security cameras, and that was it. Nobody could really remember seeing him, and his existence managed to remain some mystery, and all I know is that whenever I do conventions now, I just make sure I rope in my buffest, strongest friend I can find as a bodyguard, and even though it's been a few years now, I still worry about running into that old slimy man, and whether he was an old man or some troll in a costume, I don't think I'll ever know. But frankly, after some of the movies I'd seen during the golden age of old people are terrifying, I'm not sure I want to find out. Stay safe out there, and if you see anyone trailing slime behind them, then run a mile away and make sure you run in the other direction. Oh boy. What's up, David Lynch? How we doing, bro? It's just a big hallucination. What was the word thing slimy geezer pulled? I don't even fucking know. I think it was saying it's like cock. I just don't even feel like... I don't even know, man. I'm just annoyed. Hi, Joel. My name's Violet. Have you ever had the crap beaten out of you over a video game when you were a grown-ass adult? Well, I have, and I don't recommend it. So I'm a female in my early 30s. I'm a fan of your channel, and when this event was going on that I'm about to talk about, I was just 21. Now, for the previous few years, my city had played host to a minorly well-known gaming expo. It was kind of like E3, but more focused on the public than being a gaming press event. You could buy a wristband that gave you access to all 3 days, so of course that was what I went for every year. Now, I wouldn't say I'm hardcore or some massive gamer. I like Zelda and Dark Souls and Pokemon like everyone else, but since I was an early teen, no, I wouldn't say I'm some hardcore massive gamer. I like Zelda and Dark Souls and Pokemon like everyone else, but going all the way to back when I was an early teen, I was very athletic and also into yoga, and you wouldn't think those two hobbies would mix, but listen, Wii Sports, Wii Fit, Dance Dance Revolution, Just Dance, Guitar Hero, and Rock Band, yeah, they give you a pretty good workout, especially on the drums. Now, anyways, you get the idea. Gaming can be really active. It's a bit of an athletic hobby if you're into the right games, but it's even more so if you have a gaming arcade near you. It's sad that they were dying out for a bit, but they're starting to kind of make a comeback. Now, thankfully, my city's always had a pretty thriving one, and there were a bunch of machines that I spent far too many dollars on growing up. Riding a plastic motorcycle as a controller and ducking and diving around in the House of Dead, but mostly, as I mentioned, the various DDR cabinets were my absolute jam. I was the envy of the arcade community because eventually I held the highest score on at least half the songs on the highest difficulty. And not to brag, but my DDR skills could draw in a crowd who'd stand there and watch me tap dance between the pink and blue arrows before either giving it a... Yeah, GTA 6 should be sick. I hope it's good, man. I hope it's not bullshit. People made a really good point that, the cutscenes for, GTA 5 Online, especially the more recent stuff, is, some of the most cringe writing that's, up there with, Dragon Age Veilguard as far as, cringe goes. And I just really hope that's not, modern. I mean, I don't think it could be, right? It can't. Red Dead 2 was good. So I don't know. Have you considered expanding your story content to other sources behind user submission? Not gonna lie, these stories have been pretty rough lately, no offense. That's all good. I don't know. I don't know where to look. And not to brag, but my DDR skills could draw in a crowd who'd stand there and actually watch me tap dance between the pink and blue arrows before either giving it a go themselves or heading off to play something else. This meant that the owners of the arcade kinda really liked me and would occasionally let me practice on free play after hours, which is probably how I got so good. I still don't know if that's cheating, and they also gave me a free hot dog every time I visited, which was pretty much every Friday night with my group of friends. There is a point to all this setup, I promise. The gaming expo was fun because I got to see the latest Bleaks 9522. What's up, bro? Good to see ya. New high score. What's up, Matthew? Good to see you too. You're welcome. Glad you can make it through another shifter. Oh, man. There is a point to all this setup, I promise. The Gaming Expo was fun because I got to see the latest console games and occasionally try them out if you could handle the lines. Mostly it was just a fun weekend with my nerd gamer friends who never quite got over the novelty of having a sporty half-Korean chick hanging out with a group of guys and gals who described themselves as the typical gamer. I really don't want to sound like a jerk by saying this, but this was the reality of it, and they did kind of make a fuss about it. Also, I'm now married to one of them, and he's insisting that I include this in here, or he'll eat our copy of Borderlands 4, which just came out at the... Also, I'm now married to one of them, and he's insisting I included this in here, and don't forget, this story ends with me getting the absolute heck kicked out of me, so if you've decided I'm insufferable, you might actually enjoy the ending. Also, at this point, I'd just like to add that the typical gamer is meant as a compliment. Like I said, I'm married to one, there's nothing cuter than someone who's good at Hearthstone and Halo. Now, the Expo, for a couple of years, there had been a tantalizing area on the mezzanine on the second floor which was only accessible for people 21 and over. It had a bar, hence the 21 rule, but the part that I cared about was the fact that it also had an arcade, and from what I heard from older friends, they were kind of dated machines, but I didn't care. I didn't need the latest imported cabinet from Japan to have fun in a gaming arcade, I just needed games. And the reason the age limit was tied to the arcade was that the cabinets didn't cost regular money. Instead, you'd buy a drink and get a bunch of tokens. Each token gave you a credit. Alcohol drinks only 2, and you couldn't have a shot on point blank from buying a Coke. Kind of a genius move. You get people drunk, you get people gaming, and you get people more drunk, which makes them more competitive. And they were also kind of sensible in that they issued drink tickets, and so you couldn't just buy a crazy amount of drinks either, so nobody could get completely F-faced. I read that wrong. God damn it. We have the best narrative voice ever since I first started listening to podcasts 6 years ago. Thank you, dude. Appreciate you. That does mean a lot. Sorry, I'm just trying to get in the fucking zone on this shit, and I've just been out of the zone. You guys need to... You guys gotta, wake me up. We gotta talk about something. Something. Anything. Anything at all interesting. What's the newest bullshit? You guys never talk about... Guys, I need to be hit with, what do you think about this? That's what I need. My boy Jolsko, how have you been? Been busy as hell with work, and I've been missing a lot of your streams, and always tune in when I'm a dead bee or when you finish it. Oh, no worries, dude. We're still cruising. Joe, I'm just gonna say, I love hearing you scratch your beard. I'm such a weirdo. Oh, it's all good. How do you decide which stories to read? I have just editors pick it, and this was just a tough one. Do you put all the ex-chat folks who disappeared in the nest grinder? Yeah, that's usually where they go. The floor will open up below them. Ram Ranch. I send them to Ram Ranch. What do you think about wed bet sheets? The U.S. government is on fire. That's a hot topic. Is it on fire? I wonder how nappy it's been. I wonder if he's like a total mountain man. Nappy? A nappy beard? How about Nolan Wells? Alright, let's see this. What's Nolan Wells? Yeah, this is what I need. I need someone to take my mind off it. Nolan Wells' family still hasn't a turned over phone. Attorney Nolan Wells' parents joined a congressional black... Let's see. Who even is this? I don't even know. NBC5 investigates uncover violent past of suburban man and Nolan Wells witness threats. Who is this? The NBC Chicago investigative team has new answers in the case of Mississippi 18-year-old Nolan Wells, who was found dead after a 4th of July boating trip with friends under questionable and unresolved circumstances. We know that a Berwyn man named Edward James Porter is now facing federal charges in Nolan Wells' case for allegedly threatening to murder witnesses and their family members. Porter, 33, is being transferred by U.S. Marshals from Chicago to the courthouse in Jackson, Mississippi. Now NBC Chicago's investigation of Porter's past finds the Metro Chicago man repeatedly described by authorities as a threat to safety because of his numerous arrests for violence and saying he was going to shoot people. The mystery began in a broiling heat index of 105 during last month's July 4th holiday weekend on Horn Island, Mississippi. Wells had taken a short boat ride with friends, but he didn't return home with them. His body was found 2 days later face down in the water with no resolution of what happened. His family and national civil rights leaders have raised questions about racially motivated killing. And then, as NBC's Chicago investigative team reported last week, a man living in a west suburban Berwyn apartment was arrested for allegedly making death threats to witnesses in the case, to kill them, anyone in their homes, and any cops. Porter is also accused by federal prosecutors of threatening to cut up one witness and stuff the remains into a suitcase Now, NBC5 investigators have uncovered the first photo of Edward Porto from Cook County Jail 2025, but records we obtained show. So he was killed by the driver of the boat. Like, was he the driver of the boat, and then he threatened everyone to keep quiet? This is a big thing because the evidence goes to probable cause homicide. So assumingly it's the guy threatening everybody, right? I mean, that's probably your number one guy, right? What do you think about the political states that are being called communists? Which political states are being called communists? That Nolan Wells story is so fake, such an obvious racial psyop to cause more division. People are too emotionally invested. Well, I mean, I don't think it would be fake. I mean, if a guy got killed and went missing, like, I don't even know if it's a racially motivated thing. In this case, it just sounds like that somebody had an altercation in the boat, and then the guy that killed him was fucking psycho and killed him, right? And then told everyone to shut up about it or he'd kill them. And then now, you know, obviously you can't maintain that threat for that long, so now that guy's presumably been, you know, identified as like the killer. Everyone else was probably just like terrified, I guess, in the moment or something. I don't know. Is this part of the story? No. Huh. Am I missing something with the story? Like, I don't even know. After numerous gun violence, assault, and threats by Chicago authorities, who's the guy that's... You know what, let's... Okay, hold on a second. What's my favorite blood type to drink? I guess O negative. Nolan Wells. Who is the guy who's currently under arrest? Nolan Wells, 18-year-old Mississippi college football player who died after July 4th trip to Horn Island. The recent arrests, then you're probably referring to as Edward James. Do we have allegedly threatened witnesses and their families? Was Edward James Porter on the boat? How big is this boat? I don't know fuck about this case. I'm sorry, guys. This is kind of worthless. He went to the island with friends and stayed back as they left, and then he wasn't seen again. Oh, like they told he stayed back. Oh, so he was killed on the island. Not finding incredible evidence that Edward James Porter was on the boat with Nolan Wells. Porter... What the fuck? So who the fuck killed the kid? For me, as if he was killed, but there's no evidence anyone wanted to hurt him. I bet it was an unrelated crazy guy. Well, I mean, that's what it sounds like. If it's the guy who threatened them, or... I mean, clearly there was some sort of altercation that got him killed. I mean, unless like him and his, like the friends of him like planned to kill him, but why would they do that? That just seems like if they have no history or whatever. Who do you think deleted John Benet Ramsey? Happened in my state here and it's still talked about this day. I don't know. Some people were saying that it was actually like Epstein or whatever. I know this sounds ridiculous, but they were saying Jean Benet Ramsey, like an island off of like near her home or something, was like some place where kids could be trafficked to or whatever, and that she was just one of the kids being trafficked to like some major elites or something. So, I mean, I don't exactly know the specifics on that, but maybe that's something you can look into as far as like the island that's off the... Wait, well, she was back in... Where the fuck... Hold on a second. I don't know. I'm jumping around too many topics. I don't even fucking know what the fuck I'm talking about. Sorry, guys. I'm just trying to piece together shit that I clearly have no fucking knowledge on, and it's not really leading anywhere. Cool if we have gold blood. Alright, anyways. They were also kind of sensible in that they issued drink trinket tickets. He was on like a sandbar. They lost him unintentionally. No altercation. Medialized Joe. They're framing it, but 100% them checked out. It's sad, but nothing better. Yeah, but why would they... If he died, did they not see him die? Or I don't even know. But then who's the guy threatening like them to keep quiet? Like, what is that about? Unless they're trying to like pawn it off on some crazy guy. What do you know about the Rainy Street Ripper Austin serial killer? Oh yeah, I hear about that. I think that was like still active. My one trainer that I worked with like lived down there for a while, and he would talk about it. And I guess it's just like still going on. You think that little rich girl was sex trafficked? I don't know. I've heard some. I just like seen Instagram reels where people were pointing towards some sort of Epstein connection and Jean Benet. All right, let's look it up. What do people say is the connection between Epstein and they left and he wanted to stay back and get a ride with other people? And then what, he just got killed by somebody totally unrelated or some shit? Or like, have you been asked for a voice for an audiobook? Yeah, it's usually just like furry porn, like vampires and werewolf type gay novels, you know. Alright, so the alleged connection is mostly built around 3 internet theories, not verified evidence. The Ghislaine Maxwell in the background photo. A genuine photograph of Jean Benet shows her holding flowers with a dark-haired woman in the background. Starting around 2020, people online claiming that the woman looked remarkably like Ghislaine Maxwell. The woman has never been identified as Maxwell. Fact-checkers found the identity of the woman was simply unknown. 2. The newer Epstein files photographed. After the large Epstein file release, a photograph circulated showing Epstein with a young girl sitting on his shoulders. The girl's face is obscured or redacted. People notice that she appears to be wearing a jumper outfit similar to the one Jean Benet wore in a known photograph and concluded it could be her. CBS's verification team examined the claim and found that the clothing resemblance is not enough to identify the girl. They found no evidence connecting Jean Benet to Epstein. Oh good, they're in charge of everything, aren't they? 3. Claims that Maxwell attended Jean Benet's birthday/pageant events. More recent viral videos have gone further, claiming Maxwell was at Jean Benet's 6th birthday party or around the Ramsey family. Some of those videos and images appear to involve AI-generated or manipulated material. Jean Ramsey said the claims were completely false and specifically attributed some of the circulating material to AI. From those pieces, the larger conspiracy theory goes something like Jean Benet's child pageant world. Oh, she was in the child pageant world, wasn't she? Which is a little bit sus. Alleged Maxwell presence, Maxwell recruiting minors, Epstein, theory that Jean Benet somehow encountered their network. That's the logic people are using, but the crucial middle steps have never been established. There's currently no verified flight log, address, book entry, photograph, witness testimony, police document, or other evidence I've found showing that Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell know Jean Benet or the Ramsey family. CBS specifically investigated the viral Epstein-Jean Benet theory in February 2026 and rated this supposed connection false. We rate this false on behalf of Jeff. And importantly, Boulder police still describe Jean Benet's December 26, 1996 death as an open homicide investigation. The public case information does not identify Epstein or Maxwell as part of the investigation. Along with this that you're reading, I think I heard that Maxwell also gave Jeffrey's lawyer information to the Ramsey family after she went missing. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe sometimes they choose these cases to like flaunt their shit and, you know, because I mean, obviously it's like, have you ever, you probably heard like the term like hidden in plain sight. And if you do something wrong, you just like send the entire world on some like wild goose chase in one direction, like talking about the Jean Benet Ramsey girl, right? And everybody talks about it, and they, you know what I mean? They never, ever bring it back to you because you've sent them down such a wide and open, you know, sort of discovery process that it just, like, seemingly never connects back to you. Look up that kid's death. Joe, his friends are very clearly not involved. People are making something out of nothing. His story was an accident. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know shit about it, but everybody loves to create as much division as possible. It's just part of it's just what sells, right? It's like there's also like those sort of parasitic people that within like the civil rights movement who see every opportunity of like racial division stuff to like, you know, jump on top of it within the news cycle for their own sort of sadistic attention or funding or whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? Oh, I'll represent you as a lawyer for a family, and, you know, it's just like borderline evil in many ways. Conspiracy theory: if you turn a SpongeBob upside down, his teeth will look like the Twin Towers, therefore he was responsible for Twin Towers. That's a good point. I want prosecution for those who were in the Epstein list, the wreck the government good, rid the corruption, pedos, and people who immediately assault people don't represent me. That's a good perspective. It is weird. I'm probably never gonna get anything from that, and the people that defend it, pretty strange. Weird question and request, but can I please hear you scratch your beard a couple more times? Alright, here you go. What is that? What's crawling around in there? A fucking bird? Just like flies out. Okay, holy crap, we got like 2 more stories. It's 1 a.m. They were also kind of sensible in that they issued drink tickets, so they couldn't buy a crazy amount of drinks either, so nobody got completely S-faced. Now, I was the youngest in our friend group. Although we're all the same age, we'd met in our first year of college, and currently we're in our 3rd. And it looked like I was going to miss the arcade by another year, but then the expo got postponed by 2 weeks, and I just turned 21 the week before. Now we all headed straight into the arcade. There were 5 of us, but the most important 2 were my friend Kate and my now husband Rob. Rob was a Street Fighter master, and he genuinely let out little squeals when he saw that they had some particular rare cabinet which neither of us can remember now. Kate mostly just wanted to get drunk, which meant that she gave me her tokens. And so after downing a bottle of slightly too warm beer, I began scouring the arcade for something I was good at. Now almost immediately I found a DDR-X cabinet, and nobody was using it, and it was like I died and gone to Bamani heaven. And as I scrolled through the songs, I saw the same name at the top of the scoreboard for the highest difficulty on most of the songs I looked at. The name was Che. Now, as I scrolled through the songs, I saw the same name at the top of the scoreboard for the highest difficulty on most of the songs I looked at, and that name was C-H-E. Now, there were some songs that didn't have this initials anywhere, but the scores were much lower, so I don't think Che had played them. Now, I decided that I was going to try and knock out this CHE character down to 2nd place in my favorite songs. I had 8 tokens, and not to brag, but I pulled it off on 8 songs. I entered my usual arcade high score name, VIO, or VO. Take that, Che Guevara, I said in my head. Fuck! I'm gonna fucking kill myself. Just kidding. So, still talking a lot about dark stuff. I just want to tell everyone about free rice, Samsung global goals, and greater good. Together we can change the world. Be excellent to each other. What are you talking about? Sound came from Space King, right? Those weak blue creatures. What are you talking about? That's basically the main agreement. Simps are making the guy who died. His friends happen to be all, so instantly they're suspects to this. Well, just like everybody's kind of like, you know, it's just what sells, right? I mean, until we get all the information, I guess we can't make any assumptions, right? Justin, thank you for the 19 months, says, is it ethical to be medium ugly? Well, medium ugly would imply that you're also medium hot, so I think it's totally fair to be like middle of the road and not get in anybody's way, both by being hot or ugly. Ethical. I entered my usual arcade high score name, VIO, or VO. Take that, Che Guevara, I said in my head, and then out of tokens I went to find Rob. At the time we were just friends, but I knew he had a crush on me, and I had a big crush on him too, and I was just waiting for him to actually do something about it. I showed up just as some dude completely kicked his butt at Street Fighter, which was a pretty rare sight. Rob walked away in disgust and asked if he could watch me play something. I told him that there was a DDR machine, but I was out of tokens, and if only someone would buy me a drink so they could give me their tokens. Now the oblivious fool started to remind me that I had drink tickets of my own, so I could just also get tokens, and Then it suddenly clicked that I was flirting with him. He practically tripped over a stool to get to the bar and then rushed back and handed me 5 tokens. I asked him where the drink was, and he legitimately smacked his forehead and then said that he left the bottle in the bar in his rush to get back to me. And then he started blushing in this cute way that made me feel kind of... What ethnicity is Joel? I think I'm green. I'm actually green. A lot of people are really racist to green people, so... But they do it in, like, micro-aggressive ways. Like, sometimes they draw with, like, a yellow marker, or maybe they'll draw with, like, a black, brown, or red marker. Basically anything but green. They call me vomit face, because the color of my skin is that of bile. And not a fan when people say that to me. It really hurts my fifis. I'm a star-bellied sneech. Hey, that's the most racist thing anybody's ever said to me. Thank you. And then he started blushing in this cute way that made me kind of melt a little. And so I told him that I decided I wanted to drink too, and that maybe we could play a versus game on the way back to DDR since I had my own tokens. Now we went to get a drink. Thankfully the bartender remembered Rob and had kept his bottle back for him. I got another beer and another 4 tokens. I tried to give Rob his 4 tokens back, but he insisted that he only needed 1 token to beat me at whatever fighting game I picked. I remember this next part because it was pretty much the moment that I think that we both realized that we were going to end up dating. I told him that if I lost, then I guess that I'd have to owe him a kiss as a forfeit, and for once Rob actually took the hint. Kinda not hard to. God damn it, I fucking hate this shit. No I don't, I'm goated. I'm fucking goated. I'm floated. Sean Benet Ramsey disappeared from her home in Boulder, Colorado. Yep. Joel's half Billy Bino as he's a short king Wasian. Oh man. The Wasians will take over the world. I told him that if I lost, then I guess that I'd have to owe him a kiss as a forfeit, and for once Rob actually took the hint. Kinda hard not to. Little did I realize that I would not be spending that evening making out with my future husband, like I hoped. Instead of sharing spit, I'd be spitting... Instead of swapping spit, I'd be spitting blood, and spending the night in the hospital after a date with the cops rather than Rob. But back to Rob and I was allowed to choose the fighting game since Rob would have just picked a Capcom game and beaten me senseless. And as much as I liked the look of the... Jesus Christ. What's Wasian? Wasians is white plus Asian. Mix. Joel's crashing out every 10 seconds. I am. I've just reached my, like, crash out threshold for these fucking stories and just, like, kind of, like, clocked out mentally. Now, should I be? No. Will I continue to be? I guess. Am I sorry? Yes. Will I ever do it again? No. Am I lying? No. As much as I like the look of the characters in Darkstalkers, I decided to choose this obscure-looking old game called Primal Rage. And I felt pretty confident about this one because my brother had it on his Mega Drive and I was actually mildly decent at it, on medium difficulty or lower. And as far as I knew, the game was so obscure that I was confident Rob had never actually played it. Plus, it played nothing like Street Fighter. I picked some snake lady who I've just Googled and discovered was called Vertigo, the goddess of insanity, and Rob picked some blue gorilla. I'd like to say that I kicked his butt, but I didn't, and I actually tried to win too, which I realized after some kind of dumb idea when... Dude, I don't even... Hello from Scotland. Hello. What's going on? No Scotland, no party. Party don't stop till Scotland walks in. Scotland. Fucking Scotland, mate. And I actually tried to win too, which I realized after was kind of a dumb idea when I actually just wanted that kiss. In my defense though, I got distracted during our second match and I did lose anyway, even if the forfeit never got to happen that night. A nasally voice was demanding if anyone knew who VIO was because they'd hacked and broken the DDR machine. Someone else asked what VIO had done, and the girl said that VIO had beaten all of her high scores, which was impossible since she was the DDRX queen. Now clearly, I was getting a feeling that this was CHE, Shay. Now I wondered what the initials stood for. I stopped playing to pay more attention and Rob ate my head with the T-Rex character that he'd switched to. Total cheat. But anyway, Che sounded like a violent, angry girl who was used to getting her own way. Obviously, I did not want to get into any confrontation with this fuming, clearly drunk chick, so I whispered to Rob not to mention my name. He took the hint and we moved on, with 2 losses at Primal Rage under my belt. It turns out it wasn't as obscure as I thought, and Rob had owned it as a kid as well as 1.5 million other people. I just can't, I don't know why tonight I just, can't tell the direction that I can't make it through, singular sentences without knowing where the writer's gonna go with their fucking direction. Holy shit. I want to visit one day once America is no longer the laughingstock of the globe. Well, I think the thing you have to realize is, you might see in America that you see on your social media and all the division and all the blah 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 and nonsense, but, America's fucking massive, man. It's got, 400 million people or whatever. It's a giant landmass, It's most likely anywhere you're gonna go is gonna be, a good time. And you're not gonna, I don't know, feel whatever weird political divisive feeling you're feeling in your heart right now, even for a second, unless you look for it, It's just, I don't know. It's really never that deep, I'll be honest with you. Turns out it wasn't as obscure as I thought, and Rob had owned it as a kid as well. I can't read. I mean, yeah, you go to New York City, it's gonna be crazy, but once again, even there, it's it just depends on where you go. Have I been to Mexico? Sadly, no. My one friends went to Mexico for their, anniversary or something like that, and then whenever they were scuba diving, someone from the previous scuba diving class had died of a heart attack and drowned. Or had a heart attack and drowned in the water. And then they just got his body out and then just had the next people go. And so literally someone had just died and they just kept having people go. It's just fucking crazy. It turns out it wasn't as obscure. Turns out it wasn't as obscure as I thought, and Rob had owned it as a kid. Now we headed across the other side of the arcade with no real goal in mind other than avoiding that nasally horse girl and also the DDR machine. We found ourselves near a member of the staff who was plugging in a Striker's 1945 machine. He told me that I should give it a shot because they'd only just got the cabinet working, so I'd be able to set the top score easily. I had fond memories of Striker's 1945 from our local grocery store, so I gave it a go while Rob wandered off back to the Street Fighter machine that had excited him so much. I was a bit disappointed that he'd abandoned me so quickly, but whatever. I had a forfeit to look forward. I had a forfeit to look forward to at least, if he had the balls to actually go through with it and finally seal the deal by showing that he liked me. Now I had a pretty good run on Strikers and did fairly well. Like the member of the staff had said, I comfortably beat the default scores that were standard for a rebooted cabinet, even if it had taken me maybe 3 tokens to do so. And without thinking, I entered VIO like muscle memory kicked in. Now the next thing I knew, someone had grabbed the back of my head and slammed me so hard against the striker screen that it not only cracked the CTR glass, but also caused my nose to audibly break, kind of exploding all over the arcade machine. Before I even had a chance to react, fingers were gripping my hair and pulling me backwards. Someone had grabbed me around the neck, around the chest. Someone had grabbed me around the chest and threw me backwards onto the ground, so hard that the back of my head hit the ground with such force that I was momentarily paralyzed for a few seconds. I managed to open my eyes and saw a svelte, toned blonde girl standing over me. I wasn't sure if it was just the anger, but later found out that it was her relatively normal face, and she was one of the most unfortunately ugly people I'd ever seen in my life. The snarl that she was giving me gave her huge buck teeth and visible gums even more prominence, and I've genuinely never seen a nose that looked like that. She was also wearing a t-shirt that just said, "I'm Cherry, wanna pop me?" which kinda made me feel actively sick in between trying to gain consciousness and not see blurry after I was down on the ground. And so this was the mysterious CHE, Che, as if I hadn't suspected that already. Now I had no idea what she was going to do next, but she did something that genuinely shocked me that a woman would do to another woman. I was kind of laying spread eagle on the floor and she kicked me between the legs, square in the crotch, as hard as I think she could possibly manage. I'd never felt such pain, and I'd been hit there by a tennis ball before and it kind of hurt a little, but I figured it wasn't close to what the boys feel when they take a nut shot. But I was very wrong. At the time I was convinced that she actually ruptured something inside of me and I almost immediately began to cry, both from the pain and from the children I decided that I'd never be able to have, and the fact that my entire life plans were going to crap because of Ouch. I'm not like the other girls. At the time, I was convinced that she'd actually ruptured something inside of me, and I almost immediately began to cry, both from the pain and from the children I decided I'd never be able to have, and the fact my entire life plans were going to crap because apparently I was good at DDR. And Cherry didn't stop there, though. She leaped down on me in a sort of elbow drop. Nerds are pretty brutal, it seems. Cherry didn't stop there, though. She leaped down on me in a sort of elbow drop straight to my left breast, which also hurt way more than you'd expect. And it was like she somehow knew exactly the perfect ways to hurt another girl, and was intent on doing exactly that. She punched me around that area a few times, and I remember thinking, where the hell is everybody? Why is nobody helping? I later found out that her bunch of friends had sort of blocked off that area so nobody could see what was going on. My nose was already broken, and so blood was clearly pouring down my chin, but Cherry now was starting to punch me in the face, smacking me in the mouth so bad that I could feel my lips swelling to the size of bananas. At least that's how they felt, and almost multiple blows to the eyes. I genuinely thought I was about to die. I tried to scream for help, but my mouth was filled with... Oh my god, another fucking year of this. She picks up the cabinet. She smashes it over Cherry's head. I genuinely thought I was about to die. I tried to scream for help, but my mouth was filled with blood. I could barely see out of my right eye, and my left eye felt like it didn't even exist anymore. It just felt like a ball of fire in my eye socket. And that was it. This, apparently, was how I was going to die. But then my savior arrived. I remember my friend Kate, who gave me her tokens because she wanted to get... Yeah, I need Pradeep to come read for me. Holy shit. They actually say big butts correlate to ADHD and autism. That makes sense, honestly. Every Latina ever autistic. This was it. This was how I'd die. And then my savior arrived. Remember my friend Kate, who gave me her tokens because she just wanted to get drunk? Well, drunk she was, but not drunk enough that she failed to see the commotion going on. I learned the details later, but Kate came crashing through the crowd, grabbed this cherry, slammed her against the side of some arcade machine, kicked her in the stomach, and then began screaming for security to get here, because they were letting an actual murder go down on their watch. And then she pinned this cherry to the ground, knocking her head against the corner of a cabinet whenever she tried to struggle, until about 5 event security officers eventually showed up. At first, they thought Kate was the assailant until they saw me, lying on the floor, beaten to a pulp, and Cherry with blood all over her and... Latonka trucks. At first, they thought Kate was the assailant, until they saw me lying on the floor, beaten to a pulp, and Cherry with blood all over her and knuckles that clearly showed that she'd been punching someone. I kinda passed out at that point and woke up on an uncomfortably thin mattress with shot. I kinda passed out at that point and woke up on an uncomfortably thin mattress with soft sheets and the sound of beeping and footsteps. I still couldn't see out of my left eye at all and realized that it was covered in gauze. I could just about make out some blurry details from my right eye and figured out that I was in a hospital room, with Rob sitting on a chair next to me just staring into space. I remember croaking out, "Don't look at me," and then absolutely wished that I hadn't when the stitches in my lip immediately came undone and started bleeding again. Rod told me that I needed to keep my mouth shut, literally, and then went to get a nurse to fill me in on what happened. So Cherry had broken about half my ribs, caused a small fracture in my pelvis, and caused a considerable damage. So Cherry had broken about half my ribs, caused a small fracture in my pelvis, and caused considerable damage to my face. Thankfully, I hadn't lost any teeth though, and I was told that I had to stay in the hospital for at least 1 night, maybe 2, because they needed to do an ultrasound to check for any abdominal damage. They also told me that I had a broken left eye socket, and there was a good chance that I never regained full eyesight in the one eye. Thankfully, it was only bad enough that I got away with wearing glasses, and 12 years later, there's talk of corrective laser surgery that might be able to fix my vision permanently. The better news was that Cherry hadn't managed to damage my womb or ovaries or any The better news was that Cherry hadn't managed to damage my womb or ovaries or any reproductive stuff, although I was advised that I should give it a few months before I engaged in any of that stuff. So much for getting things moving with Rob, I guess. I spoke to the cops, and there were dozens of witnesses and multiple angles of security footage that backed up my story. Cherry came from some wealthy family, but even her expensive lawyers weren't getting her out of this one. Not that her parents wanted to, but both were devout Christians, and they actually hugged me during the trial and apologized for raising a daughter who'd strayed so far from the light. And given the way that Cherry spoke to her parents, I don't blame them for failing to side with her. In their eyes, a just and fair punishment was exactly what she deserved, especially for getting blackout drunk at some arcade thing. And the judge threw the book at her, and she was actually given a sentence so harsh that I even feel bad for her. I asked her parents to appeal, and they said that I'd write to the judge suggesting that a sentence that harsh would only ruin her life, so she ended up serving about half of what she'd originally was sentenced to. 6 years out and 4 with good behavior, and I genuinely don't know what happened to her, and I don't really want to know, but Rob has spied on her social media a couple of times and reassured me that I did the right thing on all accounts. And for anyone wondering, no charges were brought against Kate, and thank God for that. Why part of this my fighting in, given a DR. Yeah, whatever. I don't want to read the rest of that. Okay. Fuck, man, that took forever. Holy shit. Well, actually, it's the exact same amount of time of every stream, 3 hours. It just felt like it took forever. I don't know why. It was just like difficult to make it through. Alright, guys. Sorry. Lock in. I'm about to read the outro. You guys think of something funny? No worries, Naterator. Is it Naterator? I just feel like when I say Nate, I need an E in it, you know? But with no E, it's like, it almost looks like narrator. Oh, crap. Okay. Somebody think of something funny. Think of the funniest thing ever. Hey, friends, thanks for listening. Click that notification bell to be alerted of all future narrations. I release new videos every Monday and Thursday at 9 p.m., and there are super fun live streams on Sundays and Wednesday nights. If you got a story, be sure to submit them over at my email, letsreadsubmissions@gmail.com, and you might even hear your story featured on the next video. And if you want to support me even more, grab early access to all future narrations and bonus content over on Patreon, or click that big join button to hear about the extra perks for members of the channel. And check out the Let's Read podcast, where you can hear all of these stories in big compilations located anywhere you listen to podcasts. I also have a true crime channel called Saturn's Soul. Go check it out. All links in the description below. Thanks so much, friends. And remember, the missile is EP. I gotta piss so bad. Holy fuck. Remember, don't put too much hot sauce on your food. Never enough hot sauce. Never enough. Oh, fuck. Just call him Nate. Okay, I can do that. Alright, dudes. Thanks again for hanging out. I'm gonna get this up and over on Patreon. It's only $1 a month over there. Please subscribe. And I'll get it up on YouTube same time, same place. 9 p.m. EST. Much love. And chicken gloves. See you guys.